The goal is how much the heart becomes softer. How much we are able to see that we are insignificant and the Supreme Lord is so glorious. How much are we able to see that the Vaishnavas are so glorious and we have been given this chance to serve the Vaishnavas. How much we feel grateful, how much we feel humble. That is the criteria. Not that how much praise we receive, how much glories we receive, how many gifts we receive, how much position we receive. These are all very external things. So Daksha could not understand that. He just went into a totally external mode. So now when this Vajpayee Yajna is organized, Daksha invited everyone except Lord Shiva. And in those days, the means of travel was interplanetary, so they were all coming in their planes. You know, ladies were decorated. They always like to decorate themselves. Otherwise, what is the use? No lady does makeup and sits at home. After doing makeup, they have to go around to show, na? What will they do with makeup? Makeup is done so that others can be impressed and say that, wow, what a makeup, you know, how beautiful you look. So it's all about impressing others. So they were all going, the demigoddesses and the demigods were there on the plane. And Mother Sati was seeing what's happening and she called somebody, what's happened? She did some communication and they said, well, you don't know your father, Vajpayee Yajna is organizing. Are you not coming? Mother Sati could not say anything. Then, maybe yesterday that was the section that how Lord Shiva and Mother Sati, they are talking. And Sati say, well, he may not invite us. We are anyway family members sometimes. The intimacy of the family member is seen by, not giving a formal invitation. It's understood. So we not. And Lord Shiva is telling, no, your father is very critical of me. And if you go there, you will not be able to tolerate, will not be happy about it. So better not go. So now she has a desire because she's a lady. She has a desire to meet her mother, meet her sisters, and see other relatives, get together and do some gossip. And on the other hand, the husband is not allowing, right? So, two minds, what to do. She's going back and forth, back and forth. So, anyway, now we'll read that section. So, first few verses talk about her decision making. She finally decides to go. Then later, when she reaches, that reception is described. And after that, in 13 verses, saying that Lord Shiva is not given any position, she is criticizing Daksha, really chastising him. After that, the process in which she leaves her body, that is being described. After that, how Lord Shiva's associate, they tried to damage the yajna, but then the Bhrigu Muni, he created rubus. Rubus are like, uh, kind of soldiers which are produced from the fire, and they protect the yajnas and brahmanas. So they drive away all those people. So that's where the chapter ends. And Krishna willing, we will try to complete the whole chapter. Something remains, then you can read at your own. Officially, we will close the chapter today. Okay, so let's recite this verse. Maitreya uvacha etavadukto vivarama sankaraha patnyanganasham hi ubhyatar chintayan suhridrakshu parishankita bhavan niskramati nirvishati dvidhasasa. Yeah. Somebody can just rotate the mic and read the translation. I will highlight the points from purport.
The sage Maitreya said, Lord Shiva was silent after speaking to Sati, seeing her between decisions. Sati was very much anxious to see her relatives at her father's house, but at the same time, she was afraid of Lord Shiva's warning, her mind unsettled. She moved in and out of the room as swing moves this way and that.
So she is Suhrid Didrikshu. She is anxious to see her relatives, and at the same time, she is Parishankita. She is afraid. So when the mind is in two minds, I mean, the mind has two options. The body also, follows with that. Uh, like sometimes the mind is running fast, not doing chanting. The body also moves fast. Mala also moves fast. The mind is working very fast. So she was in two minds because she was anxious at the same time she was afraid. Her mind unsettled, she moved in and out of the house. Right? So this is I believe you are doing it from last few classes also. Samarpan Goprabhu's style of teaching. So this is the translation by Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, that she could understand that she would be destroyed if she goes there, because she would not be able to tolerate the insult for Lord Shiva. But she became divided. Desiring to see her relative, she left the house. She went out. Then, in fear of Lord Shiva, she entered the house. So this is the description in this chapter, ignoring the forbiddance of forbidden. Oh, I have not shared it, no? I have not shared it, right? Oh, I didn't share it. Wait a minute. Yeah, not. Yeah, but so Shankaracharyya Thakur gives a summary of the chapter. That Mother Sati, ignoring the forbiddance of her husband to go to sacrifice, went there, was disrespected by her father. In anger, she criticized him and gave up her body. Right. So Shivji could understand that either she would destroy herself if he forcibly prevented her from going, or she would destroy herself if she went and received the insult. In either way, she has made up her mind. Either way, either she will commit suicide here or she will commit suicide there. It's the only matter of who will bear the case. So better, Shivji thought, let her decide. Whatever he said, she would destroy herself. Either if he forcibly prevented her from going. So that way she was going. And proper right that Sati's mind was divided about whether to go to her father's house or obey the orders of Lord Shiva. The struggle was so strong that she was from one room to another, and she became to move like the pendulum of a clock. You know how fast it goes back and forth back. Very important to get into that mood of the character, to get a feel. It's happening millions of years ago. It's happening practically in the first Manvantara, Swayambhu's Manvantara. But still we can get there through the words of Sukadeva Goswami. So this duality of mind is not something new. For brahmachari, it's very common. And even for grasthas, it is very much there. But most of the time, husbands move like pendulum because wife is asking two things how to fulfill it. so, so, and WhatsApp is easy on mobile with notices put. So, what to do to give up the mobile WhatsApp, or to use it or to not use it, what to do. Convenience versus order. Mind. Back, not good. I know how much time I waste on this, but at the same time, it's convenient. How many times will I open the laptop in a day? So like that it goes. Okay, we'll decide together to save time. Suhedriksha pratighata durmana sneha drudati ashtukalat vibala aprati purusham rusha pradakshayat skishata jata veputah.
Sati felt very sorry at being forbidden to go see her relatives at her father's house, and due to affection for them, tears fell from her eyes. Shaking and very much afflicted, she looked at her uncommon husband, Lord Shiva, as if she were going to blast him with her vision.
So, ladies, they had the power. They can look at that glance that they will burn. She looks at the same glance with Daksha also. But finally, she burns herself because she doesn't want to kill Daksha. So, her body shaking, Sati crying out of affection for her parents, agitated with tears, upset by the obstacle to her seeing her relatives, and glanced with anger at Shiva, who had no equal, uncommon husband, as if to burn him to ashes. So, tears are the most powerful weapons for a lady. If a lady cries, even Lord Shiva or Lord Vishnu have to surrender. What to say of others. Why? Because originally when Radharani cries, then Krishna has to surrender to her. So that's the origin. No? All Lakshmis come from Radharani, all Vishnus come from Krishna. And Mother Parvati and Lord Shiva, they are manifestation of Lord Vishnu and Mother Lakshmi in the material realm. They're their expansions. Shakti expansion here and Tattva expansion here. So she was crying, but she was angry also very simultaneously. And Prabhupada focuses on aprati purusham, that Lord Shiva has no equals. His wife Sati knew that her husband was equal to everyone. But why in this case he was so unkind to his wife that he did not allow her to go to her father's house? This distressed her more than she could tolerate, and she looked at her husband as if she were ready to blast him with her wisdom. In other words, since Lord Shiva is the Atma, it is also indicated here that Sati was prepared to commit suicide. That's what I was telling. Another meaning of the word aprati purusha is the person who has no rival. Since Lord Shiva could not be persuaded to give her permission, Sati took shelter of a woman's last weapon, weeping, which forces the husband to agree to the proposal of his wife. Crying is a very powerful weapon. When the children cry, they get everything done. Even they, before speaking, they learn crying, right? And when a wife cries or weeps, then it's a very powerful thing, very difficult to resist it. And that's why when as a devotee we cry for Krishna, then Krishna find it irresistible and difficult to not give shelter. Until the time we don't cry, Krishna says, "You smile, I smile, no problem. You are happy, I am happy." And that is why Srila Gaur Govind Maharaj tells, "I have opened a crying school. Unless you learn to cry for Krishna, you cannot attain Krishna." You have seen that clipping is there? Somebody is asking, "Maharaj, we don't feel like how to cry for Krishna, we don't know." Maharaj is saying, "Cry? You don't know how to cry? I will tell Krishna. I'll tell Krishna, tell Maya to kick you, and then you will cry. Huh? Then wife kicks you, then you cry." Maharaj telling them, you don't know how to cry? I will tell Krishna. You will get a kick. You will cry. You will learn how to cry. you know. So sometimes, it becomes difficult when our desires are not fulfilled to understand why the other person is posing an obstacle. Currently I'm in the middle of the, ocean of Brahman initiation recommendations and all that. And one thing is that people feel that, anybody they approach is the individual person. Nobody is individual. Nobody will take that individual thing. It's too heavy for anyone to digest, because so somebody is not recommended. They always have reasons and they always have their list of qualifications, eligibility. And they're not able to see a total picture of how many candidates and who are there, and that the mood of Vaishnava to be at the last. That's the last thing in their mind. Prabhu, that is to speak in lecture. That is to speak when you're not there in the list. When others' initiation is happening, then you get there. But not when I am in the list. Very tough, very, very tough. To live by what we know is tough. It's not easy. So they wonder, अरे इतना सब किया, इतना अच्छा रिलेशन किया, इतना बार घर पे प्रसाद के लिए बुलाया, इतना बार सेवा किया, मेरा नाम क्यों नहीं आगे जा रहा है? सब प्रभु लोगों को हमने घर पे बुला के प्रसाद खिलाया है, सब लोगों ने अप्रिशिएट किया है, आपका प्रसाद इतना अच्छा है, भगवान खाएंगे तो कितना अच्छा होगा। तो हमको कुकिंग कर रहे हैं भगवान के लिए, वेरी डिफिकल्ट. So Sati could not understand that her husband is, equal to all. He's aprati purusha, he's powerful personality. Why is he not giving permission? What is so dangerous about that? But that is called faith. Faith means to trust in something without, knowing it through our senses, right? बाकी की तो consequence Mother Sati will see for herself what happens. But if she could have trusted Lord Shiva that what he's telling is good for her, then she would have been saved. But she could not trust, because she believed more in her estimation of the situation than Lord Shiva's, guidance. So it happened many times. You know that story of the monkey, the old monkey. All the monkeys were living in the king's royal palace, eating nicely the fruits and all. And the royal monkey told, that old monkey told, I'm telling you my experience. They're not a good place. Now we should leave and go to the forest. What? Forest, we have to go here, go there and eat some fruits and berries. Here we are eating all kind of cooked items, nice items. So he said, no, you don't know. This sheep, the sheep is going to the kitchen and the cook is driving her away. And someday the cook will take a burning stick and will beat the sheep. And the sheep hair will get on fire. And then the sheep will go to the horse's place where astabal. And then the whole astabal will come on fire. And then the horses will get burnt. They will get burned ashes. And then the cure for the horses to get rid of the burn is the skin of the monkey. And then the king will catch all of us. Don't have इतना इतना बड़ा एल्गोरिथम बनाया, ये होगा तो ये होगा तो ये होगा तो इतना कुछ देखा है किसी ने? They did not listen to the advice of that old monkey. So he left. He said, I'm going, I'm taking sannyas and I'm going. You manage. So they did all the planning, and same thing happened. The king one day, the cook threw a burning stick. The sheep got on fire, the stubble got on fire, the horses got burnt, and they asked the Vaidya, what is the cure? He said, monkeys' skin. He said, so many monkeys are there. They're all slaughtered. So sometimes when we don't have trust in the foresightedness of the people who are guiding us, training us, bona fide people who are our well-wishers, and we have more trust in our mind's decisions, mind's ideas, then we are in big trouble. Mind has never done good to any person in the entire creation. Mind is created in a way as a servant of false ego. Mind and intelligence are servants of false ego. And false ego is the creation of the Lord. Krishna bholi sei jiv, anadir bahir mukha, atayeva maya de tara samsaras. And another verse is there. Krishna bholi jiv sei bhogavanchaka. Atayeva maya tare jhapatiyadare. Maya tare jhapatiyadare means that maya covers. And the false ego one drives. So mind and intelligence are servants of false ego. They are not servants of Krishna, or not servant of the pure identity as of now. So that is why Mother Sati could not trust, and she could wonder. She wondered why my husband is partial to me. Why is he not allowing me? Is it such a big demand? Does it such a big thing? I'll just go and come back. That's all. What's so big about it? So similarly, sometimes we consider things smaller from our perspective. We don't know the dangers being involved in that. So this case shows disobedience leads to a great trouble. ततो विनिसस्य सती विहायतं शोकेन रोषेण च दूयता हृदा पित्रोरगात् स्त्रेण विमूढधीर्ग्रहान् प्रेमात्मनो यो हृदम् अदात् सतां प्रियः स्त्रेण विमूढा धीर. That is the word we tell. By her womanly nature, she got deluded in her intelligence. Pardon?
Thereafter, Sati left her husband, Lord Shiva, who had given her half his body due to affection. Breathing very heavily because of anger and bereavement, she went to the house of her father. This less intelligent act was due to her being a weak woman.
Yeah. And he's right, breathing heavily, heart affected with grief and anger, intelligence bewildered by her womanly nature. Lord Shiva, dear to the saintly, had given her half of the body out of affection. She went to the house. So her desire to see her relatives was stronger, and fear for her husband was weaker. So she gave up Lord Shiva, and with grievance, Duyata, heart, went to the house of her father. Why she gave up? Because her intelligence was diluted by her womanly nature. Prabhupada says, in the Vedic conception of life, the husband gives half his body to his wife, Ardhangini, and the wife gives half of her body to her husband. In other words, a husband without a wife or a wife without a husband is incomplete. Ardhanarishwari, you see, Lord Shiva's deity there somewhere. So this relationship was there between Lord Shiva and Sati, but sometimes due to weakness, a woman becomes very much attracted by the members of her father's house. Then this has happened to Sati. This was, it is specifically mentioned that she wanted to leave such a great husband because of her womanly weakness. In other words, womanly weakness exists even in the relationship between husband and wife. Generally, separation between husband and wife is due to womanly behavior. Divorce takes place due to womanly weakness. The best course for a woman is to abide by the orders of her husband. That makes family life very peaceful. सबको लगता है गुरु शिष्य वैसे रिलेशनशिप है, ऑथोरिटी सबऑर्डिनेट, थोड़ा ऐसा नहीं सोचना चाहिए हस्बैंड वाइफ फैमिली लाइफ चल रहा है आपको क्या करना है. नहीं, हम भी अगर वाइफ के रोल में रहेंगे तो खुश रहेंगे, और हस्बैंड के रोल में रहेंगे तो प्रॉब्लम रहेगा. Right. So sometimes there may be misunderstanding between husband and wife as found even in such an elevated family relationship, but a wife should not leave her husband's protection because of such a misunderstanding. If she does so, it is understood to be due to her womanly weakness. तो हमको लगेगा तो वुमनली वीकनेस है, हम लोग तो ब्रह्मचारी, हम तो स्ट्रांग है. ऐसा नहीं. कलौ शूद्र संभवाक. The main problem in Kali Yuga is not women, it's the weakness of man. The man has lost, you know, the man has lost his capability to lead and guide a woman. He has become woman. See, women were always weak-hearted. But then men were strong-hearted, they could give shelter and they could guide and train. But now the man has voluntarily come under the control of woman, then what to do? Right? If a child becomes the owner of the house, then what can we expect? So the man has become weak. Why the man has become weak? Because the strength of man lies in a surrender to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. That man can do because it requires rational intelligence to do that. Emotional intelligence is, अरे हम तो प्रभु जी जो आप बोलेंगे वही करेंगे. You can see that you all are preachers to some degree. Most of you are not congregational preachers, but still, when you interact with congregation, you can see the woman is blind faith. You know, just प्रभु जी है ना बस हो गया. गुरु महाराज है, प्रभु जी है. वो कोई इतना शास्त्र पढ़ना या एक कंपैरेटिव एनालिसिस करना या कोई फॉल्ट देखना इतना इजी नहीं होता उनके. दे आर इमोशनल इन नेचर. सो बट मैन इज रेशनल. ही विल से अरे ये प्रभु जी ऐसे हैं लेकिन व्हाई इट इज डूइंग लाइक दिस, व्हाई डूइंग लाइक दैट. ही विल कंप्लेन आल्सो समटाइम. राइट. सो मैन्स strength comes from his surrender to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. When a man does not follow Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, he loses the capacity to lead women. Then he becomes a woman himself. And he becomes just another woman in the man form. Both are wearing pant shirt on. You don't know what's the thing. You know? And nowadays you can see women driving the car, women driving the bike, and the man sitting behind. So you can see that it is happening literally. So the problem is not with the woman, problem is with the man. The man is not trained. The man is not having the strength to give shelter and guidance to the woman. That's why woman has become, so uncontrolled, and they damage the whole society. So that is why one has to give up the womanly nature. Womanly nature is good in terms of having emotions, but the manly nature is to surrender to Guru, to take that call of surrender to Guru and Krishna. So that is one way of understanding. And another understanding is that whatever applies here between Mother Sati and Lord Shiva, that applies to us in the role of disciple and in the role of a brahmachari. The brahmachari, it applies to the ashram leadership, and as a disciple, it applies to the Guru. Both are same, but because of an institution, the two are a little different. Right? We are not living with Guru in a physical, personal way, what earlier used to be the case. But we are living in an institution which is also an expansion or an extension of Guru's shelter, coming through, his representative, whatever the hierarchical order is set. So this is how one is to see that. This is in that context. Because when Mother Devahuti is serving Kardam Muni, you saw in the last canto, Prabhupada is very well connected to the disciples serving to the spiritual master. And later on, you'll find when Vaibhav is serving Mayurdhwaj, their husband-wife, and Vaibhav is crying desperately and she wants to leave, she wants to become Sati after Mayurdhwaj has left the body. Prabhupada writes, similarly, a disciple should cry bitterly and he should leave his body after the spiritual master leaves. Prabhupada writes there. And there's a practical example. Rasikanand Prabhu's disappearance was there a few days back. Rasikanand Prabhu was with the disciples and he was in the Ramana temple. And while doing kirtan, when he left, all the disciples left with him. A few disciples with him doing kirtan, he left and they left. Such was the attachment to the spiritual master. So after the spiritual master leaves, the only purpose for a disciple to live is to follow his instruction and to execute his instruction and please him. That's all. Nothing else remains in life. And while the spiritual master is living, then also the goal is to please him, to see a smile on his face. So whether when the spiritual master is living or he has left, the goal is to please him, serve him only. So this is like a chaste wife. This is like a chaste wife. She desires nothing else other than the pleasure of her husband. Similarly, a disciple or a brahmachari should only desire the pleasure of the Guru, that's all. Nothing else is there in that. And this kind of tendencies of people hearing from here and there after initiation especially, they are not in any way different from a chaste woman trying to make a connection with another man. And you know what we call them. Because once we have the Guru, we have chosen the Guru, after hearing from so many people. We have come to ISKCON after going through many institutions, probably. And within ISKCON, we have chosen our spiritual master. after hearing from him. So within ISKCON, it's okay because it's one sampradaya, one place. But then to hear from so many other people, it's a very serious thing for initiated devotee. It's not a light thing. It's not a small thing. It's not just chalta hai. It's not just out of curiosity I look at it. It's just that, wo title acha tha to maine dekh liya. These are great weaknesses of mind. They will not allow us to grow in our commitment and surrender to the spiritual master. Right? So that's very, very important. So what weakness Mother Sati is showing here, that weakness we all have. We all get divided between our desires and, sometimes the fear which is imposed by the superiors or guru through their instructions or guidance of that. Okay, next verse. Tam anugachan druta vikarmam satim ekam trinetranuchare sahasra se parshad yaksha maniman madadya purusho vrishendra sarasa gatavyatha.
When they saw Sati living alone very rapidly, thousands of Lord Shiva's disciples, headed by Maniman and Mada, quickly followed her with his bull Nandi in front and accompanied by the Yakshas.
So they all have their own party because no royal person goes alone. Royal person goes in a procession. So they made a procession with that. And she quickly traveled because she was afraid that Lord Shiva may stop. And because the followers knew the desire of Lord Shiva, so they accompanied her. They could understand that. Gatavyatha means without fear. The word Gatavyatha means without fear. Sati did not care that she was going alone, therefore she was almost fearless. The word Anuchara is also significant for it indicates Lord Shiva's disciples were always ready to sacrifice anything for Lord Shiva. All of them could understand the desire of Shiva who did not want Sati to go alone. Anuchara means those who can immediately understand the purpose of their master. Anuchara. So we have to become Anuchara or Anuga, like Prabhupada Anuga. Anuga. Anuga means the followers who understand the desire of the master. In the section where Vishnu Dutas are challenging Yamadutas, whose servants are you? If they're asking. So Prabhupada says that actually a servant should understand the mission of the master, otherwise he would be not be able to represent the mission properly. So Anucharaha, Anugaha means somebody who understands the purpose, totality. So sometimes we have an idea what will please Prabhupada, but actually we have to read, discuss, understand. And what definitely pleases Prabhupada is when we cooperate, when we put our things aside and we are able to work with a team of devotees and live in a community, that's something very pleasing. In that, whatever we can do is fine. But fighting with devotee, criticizing devotee, blaspheming devotee, that is certainly not something which pleases Srila Prabhupada. One person may think that it is pleasing, but it is not. So this is Anuchara or Anugaha. Okay. Product translation.
The disciples of Lord Shiva arranged for Sati to be seated on the back of the bull and gave her the bird which was her pet. They bore a lotus flower, a mirror, and all such paraphernalia for her enjoyment and covered her with a great canopy, followed by a singing party with drums.
So
Cons,
followed by a singing party with drums.
Concerts and bugles, and the entire procession was as enormous
Pompous.
as the royal parade.
Royal parade ki jagah. On the back of a bull, that was the carrier. Sarika was the bird. Sarika means female parrot. And lotus flower, mirror, all such paraphernalia. And not like, sit in a PMC bus and go. Apna ek pura party tha. So she went. So bird and other item are attraction to play, instrument, other item. Dance, music, white umbrella, royal thing. And they went to that. Photo. ऐसे पढ़ो ना.
She then reached her father's house where the sacrifice was being performed and entered the arena where everyone was chanting with the Vedic hymns. The great sages, Brahmanas, and demigods were all assembled there. And there were many sacrificial animals, as well as pot made of clay, wood, iron, gold, grass, and skin, which were all requisite for the sacrifice.
So she entered the place of sacrifice there, and this is the description there. Right? And Prabhupada says, when learned sages and Brahmanas assembled to chant Vedic mantras, some of them also engaged in arguing about the conclusion of the scripture. Thus, some of the sages and Brahmanas were arguing, and some of them were chanting the Vedic mantras. So the entire atmosphere was surcharged with transcendental sound vibration. This transcendental sound vibration has been simplified in the transcendental vibration Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. So whether one knows the Vedic mantras, Vedic sacrifices or not, the transcendental vibration of Hare Krishna mantra is sufficient. In this age, no one is expected to be highly educated in the Vedic way of understanding because people are very slow, lazy, and unfortunate. Manda sumanda matayo, manda bhagyahi upadrita. And then Prabhupada glorifies Sankirtan Yajna, Yajna Sankirtana Praya, Yajanti hi sumedasam. And here the description of the samagri is given, what all was there. And Prabhupada says it's very difficult to gather all the sacrificial things. So for this age, it is recommended to come together and do Nam Sankirtan. सम्यक रूपेण बहुत्व मिलेना कीर्तनम सब लोग एक साथ में होकर के मिल करके जब कीर्तन करते हैं उसको संकीर्तन कहते हैं एंड देन ही सेज indirectly this indicate Lord Chaitanya who is accompanied by his associate Nityananda Advaitananda. This is the process of performing yajna. And another significant point is there were animals for sacrifice. Doesn't mean that they all were to be killed. So So then he says that how in a sacrifice the animals are tested and they are given a new body. That was the test of a Vedic mantra. The animals gathered were not meant to be killed and eaten. The real purpose of a sacrifice was not to replace a slaughterhouse, but to test a Vedic mantra by giving an animal new life. Animals were used to test the power of Vedic mantras, not for meat. पता नहीं ना कलयुग के लोगों के कुछ भी कोट करेंगे बोले श्रीमद् भागवतम में देखो यज्ञ में इतने सारे एनिमल थे. Now also in Bengal they call it slaughterhouses Kalika Mandir, like that they call it Kalika Mandir. So these are all the and yeah.
When Sati with her followers reached the arena because all the people assembled were afraid of Dakshas, none of them received her well. No one welcomed her but her mother and sisters, who with tears in their eyes and with glad faces welcomed her and talked with her very pleasingly.
तो माता सती पहुंच गई, देखा कि इतना यज्ञ का पंडाल लगा हुआ है, इतना सब सामान रखा हुआ है और किसी ने उनको वेलकम नहीं बोला, किसी ने रंगोली नहीं निकाला, किसी ने थोड़ा रहता है ना अपना वैदिक प्रोसेस, थोड़ा गार्लैंड डाला, अत्र रंगोली जो किया था जीवित के लिए, तो किसी ने कुछ किया नहीं. तो ऑल पीपल वर लुकिंग एट दक्षा, व्हाट शुड वी डू, बिकॉज़ यू नो यू डिपेंड ऑन द मास्टर ऑफ द प्लेस टू डिसाइड व्हाट इज टू बी डन, what is the best way to deal. तो सब समझ गए कि Daksha is seeing her not as his own daughter, but he is seeing her more as Shiva's wife. You see, he could have seen her as his own daughter. No? He could have still criticized Damad, but he could have been affectionate to his daughter. But the nature of envy is such that people are more ready to separate people and envy them as compared to be with them and try to be affectionate. He don't see her as his daughter. And because of that, out of fear of Daksha, none of the people received her when she arrived, except mother and sister. They were not afraid, na? Mother and sister, they were not afraid of Daksha. They embraced her in joy, though she had not been respected by others. So, due to natural affection, they immediately embraced her with tears in their eyes. This shows that a woman as a class are very soft-hearted. Their natural affection cannot be checked by artificial means. Although man present a very learned Brahman and demigod, they were afraid of their superior Daksha, because they knew that their welcoming Sati would displease him. Although in their mind, they wanted to receive her, they could not do so. Women are naturally soft-hearted, but men are sometimes very hard-hearted.
Although she was received by her sisters and mother, she did not reply to their words of reception. And although she was offered a seat and presents, she did not accept anything. For her father neither talked with her nor welcomed her by asking about her welfare.
So they spoke words of affection. They offered her a seat. They offered a worship. You know how worship is being offered. What we do to the Lord in the morning, Upchara, that was done as an ordinary reception in the Vedic time. So, when person comes, then, he's made to sit, idam asanam, please sit on this seat, nice seat. Then swagatam su swagatam, then they give a garland and then they say itat padyam, they wash the feet. How Krishna washes the feet of Sudama or other brahmanas. Then they sprinkle the water. Then idam angavastram, they offer that angavastra to wipe the feet. And then they give that argyam. So argyam is scented water, which they sprinkle just to become refreshed. And then they give another towel. Then they give achmaniam, clove water, for them to sip to make the mouth fragrant. Then they give madhuparka, a very fragrant substance made of 4 parts of honey and 1 part of milk, curd, and sugar. Little sugar is there. Sugar water. So that is madhuparka. And then again punarachmaniam. So this is the basic etiquette of receiving someone which is offered. But she did not accept it because she could see that neither the father is talking to her nor is asking for her welfare at all. So that's why she did not respond to the questions and she did not touch the seat because she was not welcomed by her father. Prabhupada also right. She did not accept the greeting offered by her sister mother for she was not at all satisfied by her father's silence. Sati was the youngest child of Daksha and she knew that she was his pet. But now, because of her association with Lord Shiva, Daksha forgot all his affection for his daughter and this very much agreed with. The material bodily conception is so polluted that even upon slight provocation, all our relationship of love and affection are nullified. You see? He loved her, but now he looked at her more as wife of Shiva rather than seeing her as his own daughter. So bodily conception is so strong. I don't like Shiva, so I don't like anyone connected to him, even if she happens to be my own daughter. Such a thing. In fact, the most dirty fights, literal fights or court fights, are between the people who at one point of time were really loving each other at a bodily level. The family courts, one of the very intense courts. Why? Because husband and wife, they got married and they had dreams together and they have moved together on bike and car and honeymoon and sun, moon, whatever was there. And now they are into the court. So they know each other more than the lawyers know them, So they become so outrageous. You one point, you said this, you did this, and this, and that, and fight. And sometimes they have to hold on guard by two people each side, don't fight. At one time they were loving each other. One time they could not love without each other. And this time they would rather kill each other or commit suicide but not live with each other. How it changes. So such is the material conception of life. Similarly, among brothers who lived together and they grew up together, they wore same kind of clothes, they went to the same function, same school, and the big brother will say, anything, hey, my small brother, kuch bhi ho gaya to, like people have their own circles. If something happened, then they come to fight. And then for the property division, the same two brothers are now in the court. And they're fighting with each other over property division, a few things here and there, but they're fighting bitterly. And they can't look at each other, can't come with each other. So much. So this is all the bodily conception. So polluted. Slight provocation, everything nullified. A relationship is so transient, even though one is affectionate towards someone in a bodily relationship, his slight provocation terminates his intimacy.
Present in the arena of sacrifice, Sati saw that there were no oblations for her husband, Lord Shiva. Next, she realized that not only had her father failed to invite Lord Shiva, but when he saw Lord Shiva's exalted wife, Daksha did not receive her either. Thus, she became greatly angry, so much so that she looked at her father as if she were going to burn him with her eyes.
Again, two things happen with the eyes. One is the tears which melt, and another one is the, what do you call, fiery anger that you'll burn. So दोनों में से कुछ तो काम करेगा, आग नहीं तो पानी. Angry like fire or tears like rivers are flowing and like that kind of comes. So women are emotional, so they are both the extreme. Either they will like to become angry because of emotion, or they like to become totally sentimental. So man is usually they will neither cry so easily, neither they will become angry in a very extreme way. They can go to both the extreme, but not usual. But as we told, that anybody who does not follow Guru Sadhu Shastra is in the body of a man, but actually mentality of a woman. Man means one who knows Shastras. Man means one who is guided by Guru. Man means one who is surrendering to the Supreme Lord. That makes him a man, not the body. Not just a body of a man and beard and mustache. These are external things. But the internal consciousness, what makes a man is when he pursues the path of self-realization. And pursuing the path of self-realization means to follow the instruction of Guru Sadhu and Shastra. Without that, what is spiritual life? That makes him a man. Not just by wearing some brand or drinking some, some kind of beer or whatever it is, or smoking some cigarette. Be a man. Not like those kind of things. A man in the Vedic perspective means one who follows Guru Sadhu Shastra. That's a man. And he doesn't do that, then he's a man in name only. Just like a human being, if he does not follow the path of religion, is an animal, Dvipada Pashu. Similarly, a man who is not surrendering to Guru, is not following Guru Sadhu Shastra, is actually a woman in consciousness. And then there are women together, and then there is fight. Because women do gossip together, women do fight together. And you can see that now if you see the boys and girls coming. The boys are like girls only. First of all, the dress is all like that. And then, they are also like same. They are shy and they are hee hee ha ha. Man is not supposed to do that. Man's business is to be serious about life. Women's business is to laugh and talk and joke and this and that. They always do that. They can't do better than that. But man's business is to be serious about life and find out what is the goal of life. And that's why Prabhupada writes in a purport, the woman, the illusory form of the form of the illusory energy of the Lord in the form of woman is created to distract the man from the path of self-realization. And that's why Brahmacharya is always in trouble. Like, that's how it is created. That's the inner system. वो अंदर का सेटिंग ऐसा किया है भगवान ने कि वो होने वाला है. जब तक भगवान उस सेटिंग को चेंज नहीं करेंगे, till that time, getting agitated in the association of women is not very unusual. Proper right now, 1.2.17. We have been associated with women and wealth for so long that being agitated in their association is not very surprising. Now, we may not get agitated in wealthy thing because we are coming from some background where we have seen wealth. But then those brahmacharis at times in some places where they come from like background where they've been in a village, they didn't see much money, they just ran away from home and they came. They come and they see the luxury and opulence, they sit in the car for first time, or they see some golden ornament of the Lord, or they go to some big Grasta's house and see, what a marvel, what a fountain, what a garden. उनका तो क्या था कि एक चाल में रहते थे तो उनको like it becomes too much beyond their conception. They become very allured by that. Many of us may not be by that, but woman is something which nobody can deny that it agitates the mind. So one has to pray to the Lord and develop the quality of a proper brahmacharya who is connected to Guru Sadhu and Shastra. Brahmachariti iti brahmachari. That means one who thinks about the Supreme Lord and His pleasure, that's a brahmachari. So she's looking at her father as if she is going to burn him with her eyes. So Shiva was not given the offering. He said, no? Idam Indraya Swaha Idam Namama. We don't call for demigod, but we call for our acharyas. He says, Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyaranjan Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Idam Guruve Namah Idam Namama. भी आपका यज्ञ होगा ना जो लोग ब्राह्मण है ना. Then Namo Vishnu Padaya. Idam Sansapakacharya Namah Idam Namama. Like that they say. This goes to Sansapakacharya. Idam Guruve Namah Idam Namama. Idam Param Preshthi Guruve Namah Idam Namama. Idam Panchatattvaaya Namah Idam Namama. Like that they go. So here she says that एक बार पूरा सर्किल हो गया और शिव जी का नाम ही नहीं आया. Idam Shivaya Namah Idam Namah बोला ही नहीं, तो she became very angry and she became very upset and angry. You see here, by offering oblation in the fire while chanting the Vedic mantra Swaha, one offer respect to all the demigod. Swaha is the same. Idam Indraya Swaha Idam Namah. Like that. Idam Guruve Swaha Idam Namah. Like not Namah, but Swaha. Swaha means offering. Sorry. I don't do yajna, so I don't. So, Brahmana did not utter the mantra offering oblation to Lord Shiva. Namah Shivaya Swaha Idam Namama. Idam Namama is that a trouble name. Mera nahi hai, इनका ये पूरा. So she was not sorry for herself, but she was ready to come to her father's house without being invited. But she wanted to see whether or not her husband was being respected. And to see that her sister, relative, mother was not so important, even when she was received by her mother and sister, she did not care. But she was most concerned that her husband was being insulted in the sacrifice. When she marked the insult, she became greatly angry, and she looked at her father so angrily that Daksha appeared to burn in her vision. Sometimes you see, no, somebody is angry, you can't look at them. You just look at them. You don't look at them. Because you know they're upset, they're angry. You can't look into their eyes so intensely. That. Okay. पढ़ो इसके पास
The
माइक है
followers of Lord Shiva, the ghost, were ready to injure or kill Daksha.
चालू है
But Sati stopped. But Sati stopped them by her order. She was very angry and sorrowful. And in that mood, she began to condemn the process of sacrificial fruitive activities, and person who are very proud of such unnecessary and troublesome sacrifices. She especially condemned her father, speaking against him in the presence of all.
so the ghost and all they were ready to kill Daksha. They could understand that their master is not being respected, but she stopped. She looked at them and said, don't do that. And then she spoke condemning Daksha, who was enemy of Shiva, who was proud of his efforts at sacrifice. Now, Prabhupada, whenever sacrifice comes, he will come to Yajna Sankirtana Praya Yajante hi Sumedasa. Yajna Nam Jap Yajyos. Can see if the word sacrifice comes, something like that will come. And he will condemn that thing. So he says the process of offering sacrifice is specially meant to satisfy Vishnu because it's called Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam. Not knowing this, foolish people offer sacrifice for many material benefit. Like Daksha and his follower perform sacrifice. Such sacrifices are condemned here as a labor of love without actual profit. Dhuma Patha Shrama. Dhuma Patha Shrama means like smoke. Smoke does not do any good to anyone except causing trouble to the eyes. It doesn't do any heating. So Dhuma Patha Shram means it's a wastage of labor. And one may perform all kind of activities, but he does not develop attraction of Vishnu. They are called useless labor. What is that verse? That you do this and you do that. Dharma Sanishita Pumso Vishwakshena Katha Suya Na Utpadiyed Yadiratim Shrama Evari Kevalam. So say if attraction does not come, and then Prabhupada writes very important. One who developed love for Vishnu must develop love and respect for Vishnu's devotee. What is the verse? Prabhupada writes everything in a, he could have written just verse after verse literally. That's translation. What is the verse? Ishware tadadhineshu balisheshu dusasucha prem maitri kripa upeksha yat karoti sa madhyama. Ishware tadadhineshu prem maitri. One who developed love for Ishwara must develop maitri for tadadhineshu. Tadadhineshu means devotees. So Lord Shiva is considered the foremost personality among the Vaishnavas, Vaishnavana Methasambhu. Thus, when Sati saw her father was performing great sacrifices but had no respect for the greatest devotee, she was very angry. This is fitting. Because we should not become angry when we are not respected, but when some other Vaishnava who deserve respect is not given respect, one should become angry. And then gives the example of Jagai Madai, how Lord Chaitanya became angry. When Vishnu or Vaishnava is blasphemed or dishonored, one should be very angry. Krodha Bhakta Dveshi Jane. One should not be tolerant when a person is offensive toward Vishnu or a Vaishnava. And then he says the anger of Sati was not objectionable, for although he was her father, he was trying to insult the greatest Vaishnava. The Sati's anger against her father was quite applaudable. So now, Garham Evaha Treyodashibhi, Vishwanath Thakur writing. Garham Evaha. Sati is criticizing. Generally, we say, no, don't criticize. You should not hear or criticize about others. But here, Mother Sati is criticizing Lord Daksha, but she is not criticized for that. She is not criticized for that because Daksha is at fault and she wants to enlighten all the people around how they are also mistaken. She's trying to educate others. And she's trying to rectify the mistake of Daksha by speaking these words. So criticism is usually not an activity or not a service recommended. But for some people, in certain situations, that is what they have to do to rectify the situation. Like in general, nobody should harm anyone physically. But when somebody goes to doctor who is a surgeon, then surgeon उसको पूछते हैं आज कितना सर्जरी किया. That's his count. कितना लोगों का कट किया, कितना लोगों का फिर से सिला. That's his job ना. Like अमर बजाज पे तो उनको यही पूछना पड़ता है कितने लोगों को कट किया आज. Because he's a surgeon. So that's a specific task. So similarly, criticism for a general devotee, average devotee, is something which he should avoid, not do. But under certain circumstances, for certain people, that is a part of their service and that they are appreciated for. Like a guru correcting a disciple. It's required, it's like a surgery. But in general, a general norm is that one should be very, very careful about that. One should consider criticism or blasphemy to be like poison. We don't take chance with poison, right? Do we? शक्कर के ऊपर भी लिख दिया पोटेशियम साइनाइड, तो वो शक्कर को छोड़ो, वो टेबल से कोई कुछ नहीं लेगा. कुछ लोग तो फास्टिंग कर लेंगे, बोले क्या पता कहीं से इधर उधर किसी ने हाथ लगा दिया होगा तो. Seriously, I'm telling. Correct, na? Such faith we have, although we have never seen potassium cyanide. Anyone who's seen ever in the lab also? Not seen. And we have never seen a person dying out of potassium cyanide. Right? Still we have such faith. ये खाने से ना अपना body चला जाएगा. And we know that we are not the body. Still we have that. Yeah. So how much faith we should have when, our great Mahatmas are telling the spiritual world is there. Prabhupada is telling the God must be there, Krishna must be there, otherwise how this world is functioning. Morning I was telling, no? And they're writing that Krishna is there, his associates are there, Yamuna is there, Radha Kunda, Shama Kunda, Giri Govardhan, everything. How much faith we should have. That faith, that attraction for the spiritual realm actually help us to transcend the dualities of this world. The dualities of this world never get solved. Huh? It is not that they will get sorted out someday. They never get sorted out. They never get solved. It is just that we leave them where they are and we elevate ourselves to a transcendental plane. Just like if we are in the middle of an ocean, the waves are always coming and disturbing us. We can never stop the waves of the ocean. That's the nature of the ocean. The waves are always going to be there. But whether we are to be in the midst of the waves or not, that is our choice. So similarly, the nature of material world does not change, but we do not get affected by that. That changes, right? By elevating ourselves. That requires faith, and that faith we should have from the Vani. That's why we should hear Prabhupada lecture the most, because Prabhupada lectures are faith boosting. They are not satisfying our manoranjan tuning. They are not like saying aisa hua, vaisa hua. It's like, yeah, so many manoranjan with so many things. But they are giving solid faith. Prabhupada is saying that, what are we doing here? We are simply rotting here in the material world. You start feeling like rotting or what? Otherwise, we start feeling chalta hai, अच्छा है, सब अच्छा है इस दुनिया में, क्या problem क्या है? And then we hear Prabhupada saying, Bhagavad पढ़ोगी या Bhagavad स्थान है. One should hear Bhagavatam only from the lips of a pure devotee. Otherwise, avaishna mukhot girnam putam kari kathamritam. So we know how much Prabhupada was so serious about it. When we don't know such thing, we think, ठीक है, और time pass करना है, इतना serious lecture सुन के bore हो गया, click कर दो इसको. 4 चीजें करने से जीवन में सफलता प्राप्त हो जाएगी. कौन सा 4 चीजें? प्रभुपाद ने बताया नहीं 4 चीजें करने. We all want some kind of shortcut. We are not understanding that the path we have been given is the most perfect and the shortest and the safest path. इसके नीचे कुछ नहीं होता है. 16 माला के नीचे कुछ नहीं होगा अभी. 16 माला कर दिया 64 माला से, के कम किया, 1/4 कर दिया. इतने नियम में से 4 नियम कर दिए, समराइज कर दिया उसको. और कितना चाहिए? ना तो लगेगा आपको जाना है तो मतलब यहाँ से कलकत्ता जाना तो एयरपोर्ट जाके चेक इन करके फ्लाइट में बैठ के जाना तो पड़ेगा, 3-4 घंटे तो लगेगा ना. अब क्या रॉकेट आएगा? क्या रॉकेट आएगा तो कलकत्ता थोड़ी जाएगा, वो ऊपर जाएगा. So we have not yet understood many times that what we have been given is the ultimate path and the ultimate destination and the ultimate process. So that's why our mind get tempted, and sometimes others mind get tempted, and then also we are not so strong about it. ठीक है, अब मैं तो नहीं कर सकता इसको, थोड़ा ट्राई करने दो, क्या करना है. और somebody asks and we wonder, है क्या, मैं भी सुन के देखता हूँ ये लोग इतने महान है क्या. Sometimes people come and talk, no, some congregation or some new people, वो बाबा का सुना क्या, वो उसका सुना क्या, इतना अच्छा है. हम लोग लगता है अच्छा है क्या, मुझे तो मना किया है सुनने के लिए. So we sometimes really get doubtful about that. But that is what faith means, and that faith should come by hearing. Prabhupada said, no, the faith comes when you hear Bhagavad Gita. with the devotees. Today morning I was telling. You had faith by hearing Bhagavad Gita, he said. By knowing about Krishna. I mean, without knowing, how would you love him? So everything is perfectly and completely given. We should accept it. So that faith we should have in the spiritual world. That will help us to rise above our material tendencies. And that faith we should have, that Mahaprabhu is saying, just chant Hare Krishna, do not criticize devotee, then your life will be perfect. I will personally take you back to God. All the acharyas are saying criticizing devotee is not good. This is hatimat aparad. Mahaprabhu is comparing criticism as a halahal, wish. Potassium cyanide we see and we will not look in the direction. But Mahaprabhu is saying this criticism, because criticism done through mouth, na? The wish is also taken through mouth. If you take cyanide here and do, nothing will happen. Don't do that, but nothing will happen. But it has to be taken through tongue because it connects to the whole body. Nourishment goes through the mouth. So similarly, when somebody criticizes through the mouth, it is like eating deadly poison. Mahaprabhu says that. So we should have faith in that. So in general, one should not criticize. Only when one is given that service by the instruction of a great personality, that is a duty. Just like a surgeon cuts the body. ऐसा नहीं कि मेरे पास नाइफ आ गया मैं सबको काट दूंगा. सर्जन काटता मैं भी काटूं. वो सर्जन है, आप सर्जन नहीं. आप चाकू से फल काटो, काट के खिलाओ दूसरों को. आप दूसरों को मत काटो. वो सर्जन को करने दो, जिसका काम है उसको करने दो. एक एवरेज आदमी को ज्यादा क्रिटिसिज्म, ब्लास्फेमिंग, ब्लेमिंग के चक्कर में नहीं पड़ना चाहिए. आप लोगों से कितने लोगों ने किसी दूसरे लोगों का कपड़ा धोया है? धोया है कभी? रूममेट का कपड़ा धोया है कभी? रूममेट का? आप तो हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट वाले. धोया, स्वीकार भी कर लिया उसने. कितने लोगों ने दूसरों का प्लेट धोया है? उससे लेके के प्लेट. आप तो महान बेस्ट. तो अच्छा है आप प्लेट धो रहे हैं हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट. उसमें एक जनरल आदमी नहीं करता है. जनरल आदमी अपना प्लेट धोता है, अपने कपड़े धोता है, अपना लॉकर साफ करता है. लॉकर साफ किया कभी किसी का? इसका लॉकर गंदा है, सामान ऑन करना. मैं करता हूँ. अपना भी नहीं करते, दूसरे का तो छोड़ दो. तो हम किसी का लॉकर साफ नहीं करते, किसी का बर्तन साफ नहीं करते, किसी का कपड़ा साफ नहीं करते जनरल में. तो उसका चित्त शुद्धि का जिम्मेदारी हमको नहीं दिया है. उसका चेतो दर्पण मार्जन किसका जिम्मेदारी है? उसका जिम्मेदारी है, वो करेगा. वो उसको जब लॉकर साफ करना है लॉकर करेगा, उसको जब अंदर का लॉकर साफ करना है लॉकर साफ करेगा, उसको जब हृदय साफ करना है हृदय साफ करेगा, जब मन साफ करना है मन साफ करेगा. अपने को क्या करना है? अपना सफाई करना है. हमारा एग्जाम्पल देख के हो सकता है उसको भी लगे इसका लॉकर एकदम अच्छा है, मैं भी ऐसा करता हूँ. हो सकता है तो लगे, नहीं लगेगा तो छोड़ दो. राइट. So similarly, it's not our duty to purify others by correcting, by tuning them, by rectifying them. ड्यूटी नहीं है. अच्छा एग्जाम्पल सेट करो, उनको बोलो कि देखो महाप्रभु ने बोला है चेतो दर्पण मार्जन करना है, हम साथ में करेंगे, बाकी कुछ नहीं करेंगे. So we have no business blaspheming, blaming, criticizing things. In such situation like what Mother Sati is doing, there is a lot of analysis why she is doing that. And that is appreciated because she is doing for a good cause. She is doing it because something wrong is happening from the scriptural viewpoint. Lord Shiva is being insulted, is not given respect. That is a wrong thing according to scripture. Where the scriptures are not followed and great personalities are not given respect, in such situation one may become angry and one may criticize that. So there's a lot of analysis for that. Devi Uvacha Nayasya Lokesya Atishayana Priyas Tatha Priyo Deha Britam Priyatmana Tasmin Samastatmani Mukta Vairake Rite Bhavantam Katamaha Pratipaye.
The blessed goddess said, Lord Shiva is the most beloved of all living entities. He has no rival. No one is very dear to him, and no one is his enemy. No one but you could be envious of such a universal being who is free from all enmity.
So Lord Shiva is not envious of anyone. He has no enemy and he has no envy. Because he has no envy, that's why there is no enemy also to him. But then you are envious toward him. So Sati is criticizing Dakshan 13 verses. He's self-satisfied. He's Atishayana Priya, means no one is greater than him, no one is more affectionate than him. And he's the Atma of all being. Except for you, who acts against him? Only you would, or who would hate Shiva since he is the form of truth, Rite, and has no enemy, Mukta Vairake. Who would act against him by avoiding proper conduct? Those assembled here are filling their bellies with the food offered to you. So Shiva or his followers should act against them because they were not taking the right action. Something was going wrong. as per the Shastric guidelines. So similarly, if some devotee is breaking the regulative principle, doing something, then we have a right to correct him. We are talking about the ordinary circumstances. But if a devotee is seeing something wrong, in his Prabhu जी ने बोला क्लास में कुछ बोलने का नहीं, बोलना देखो अपना सब होगा, ऐसा नहीं. When somebody is breaking the regulative principle, doing something wrong, which is not according to Shastra, not according to the etiquettes, not according to the culture of the ashram, that time you could either tell him or tell someone else. That time you should not become sentimental कि नहीं नहीं दोस्त है ना किया छोड़ दो. That will become detrimental for him. Somebody has some serious disease, we don't inform in time, then he will not get cured. So that's why one has to use one's intelligence. In general, for normal activities, for day-to-day activities, for routine thing, one should not be very bothered about them. But when something is going against the scripture, against the regulative principle, against what is the norm of the ashram, then one should be very, very careful to not tolerate that and bring the things to notice of someone who can rectify that. That's why Sati acted. Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, Samoham Sarvabhuteshu. Lord Shiva is a qualitative incarnation because he takes care of mode of ignorance. So he has almost the same quality as the Supreme Lord. He is equal to everyone. No one is his enemy. No one is his friend. But one who is envious by nature can become the enemy of Lord Shiva. Therefore, Sati is accusing no one but you could be envious of Lord Shiva or be his enemy. Other sages and Brahmanas are present, but they were not envious of Lord Shiva, although they were all dependent on Daksha. Therefore, no one but Daksha could be envious of Lord Shiva. This was the accusation of Sati. This is a very important verse. We'll spend a little time on this. Many times you might have heard seminars also based on these two verses, this one and the next verses. The qualities of a devotee or a sadhu and the quality of a fallen person. Yeah, asura. Doshan paresham hi guneshu sadhavo grahanti kechin bhavadrisho dvija gunamsha falgun bahuli karishnavo mahattamastesh avidat bhavanagam. Very beautiful verse, worthy of a full seminar, but will not do so much. We just describe the four qualities. Yes.
Twice born Daksha, a man like you can simply find fault in the qualities of others. Lord Shiva, however, not only find no fault with others' qualities, but if someone has a little good quality, he magnifies it greatly. Unfortunately, you have found fault with such a great soul.
So, Shri Vishnu Thakur is saying, oh Brahmana, 70% see that faults are capable of being transformed into good qualities and see good qualities, not the fault. You are the opposite. The person magnifies even meager good qualities in another person, but you see only fault in another. So, in order to say that in improper Daksha assembly, all are improper, she describes who is proper and improper. So, now there are four categories. Huh? Just describe briefly. So, this is the first category is saying, those of good conduct accept even fault in others, since the fault can be eventually transformed by certain method into good qualities. So they are called mahat or sadhu. They see good and bad and they see ये bad है ना चला जाएगा क्या है आएगा मंदिर आएगा तो ये फटा हुआ जीन्स पहनना छोड़ देगा क्या है थोड़ा माला वाला करेगा थोड़ा वीकली प्रोग्राम में आएगा तो सुधर जाएगा हेयर स्टाइल ऐसा है सुधर जाएगा कट हो जाएगा and here give the example speaking harshly is a bad quality but because it can be for someone's benefit it can become a good quality like नीम जूस which can cure sickness through though it is bitter तो थोड़ा हार्ड बोलता है ठीक है सुधर जाएगा दो चार पीडीसी में रहेगा ना एक साल और एक साल येलो में रख देंगे तो सुधर जाएगा कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है you know like that and person who see in this way are to be considered mahat first level that means they see some bad thing but they're hopeful that bad will turn into good so Sati is sarcastically saying Daksha is Tuja you are not like that a person like you think that good qualities will turn into faults इसी में थोड़ा अच्छा भी है तो थोड़ा बुरा हो जाएगा यू विल थिंक दैट समवन हु वांट टू हेल्प अदर्स विल बिकम ग्रीडी फॉर देयर एसेट कोई किसी की मदद कर रहा है तो 10% थिंक अरे ही इज हेल्पिंग हिम आउट बिकॉज ही वांट समथिंग फ्रॉम क्योंकि होता है ना सो कोई अच्छा जाम कर रहा ठीक है येलो में डांस कर रहा है सेफ्रन तक आएगा तो देखते हैं नया मुल्ला जोर से बांध देता है ना सब ज़्यादा नया नया थ्रेड मिला है तो अच्छा ब्राह्मण है सब एकदम पूरा आचमन करके गायत्री करता है एकदम समय पे अलार्म लगा के गायत्री करता है एक साल के बाद देखेंगे कितना गायत्री मिस करेगा you know they see but they're hopeful that good qualities will turn into bad things that is asadhu now mahattar sadhutar some others overlooking the fault see good quality they don't see fault first little bit they see fault they think it will become good but Some others overlooking the fault. They don't see the fault, they see good quality. Seeing a merchant to a metalist, they conclude he takes care of guests nicely and is worthy of deliverance. They praise their good qualities and not the bad qualities, seeing condition as they are. वो कोई मर्चेंट है, पैसा कमा रहा है, लेकिन ठीक है, इतना बड़ा घर है, इतनी बड़ी गाड़ी है, लेकिन साल में एक बार गुरु महाराज को लेने के लिए आता है, स्टेशन एयरपोर्ट आता है, गाड़ी का यूज करता है, बाकी टाइम बोलता है भक्तों के लिए, लेकिन चलाता खुद के लिए ही। ठीक है, नहीं आता है, कभी आता है, जन्माष्टमी पे आता है, गौर पूर्णिमा पे आता है, साल में 50,000 डोनेशन देके अभिषेक के लिए आता है, अच्छा, बाकी टाइम है कितना वो। सो दिस डोंट सी द fault, they see whatever good he is doing, that is sadhu tar. This person is renowned but he also eats a lot. ठीक है भूख लगती है, ज्यादा खाता है, ठीक है, चलेगा. He does not simply think of him as a gluttonous beggar. These persons are superior, they are called mahat tar. Others see fault only, overlooking the good qualities. ये साधु बन गया, केवल खाने के लिए बना है. वो एक कमेंट दिया था ना पूना के साधु के बारे में, क्या बोला, खाते हैं पीते हैं सुमो में घूमते हैं, ऐसे करके कमेंट आया बहुत साल पहले. सुमो था उस टाइम हमारे पास, अब तो आईटी का आ गया. तो पर मुझे लोग क्या प्रोग्राम में जाते थे ना महाराज वगैरह के साथ, तो इधर सुमो गया, तो इधर महाराज लोग अपना पहली गाड़ी में और हम लोग सुमो में जाते थे. तो कांग्रेस वाले लोगों ने कमेंट दिया, लोग क्या करते हैं, खाते हैं पीते हैं सुमो में घूमते हैं, और क्या करते हैं, कुछ काम दाम है नहीं. तो others see fault only, overlooking the good quality. This sannyasi eats ghee rice to fill his stomach. He is lusty and should be considered fallen. तो ये असाधु तर है, उसको अच्छा नहीं दिखता, बुरा ही करता है. पहले तो अच्छे को बुरा में बोलता था, अच्छा है लेकिन बुरा बन जाएगा. अब क्या बोलता है, ये बुरा ही है, अच्छा ही है ही नहीं. तो ये साधुतम और असाधु तर, साधु तर असाधु तर. तीसरा लेवल पे क्या होता है, अदर टेक स्मॉल गुड क्वालिटी एंड मैग्नीफाई देम एंड डू नॉट इवन सी स्मॉल फॉल्ट. कुछ फॉल्ट भी हुआ, थोड़ा गुड क्वालिटी हुआ, बड़ा कर दिया, और फॉल्ट हुआ नेग्लेक्ट कर दिया. ये साधुतम. This person has stolen my clothes because he's cold, and though he has a weapon, he does not attack me because he is merciful, he is virtuous. Such a person is the greatest Mahatma. Others take small faults and magnify them and see no good qualities at all. This renunciate has given up the forest and lives in the house of a married man. He only wants to steal their money. This is called worst person, asadhu tam. जैसे प्रभुपाद ने जब श्याम सुंदर प्रभु was making carving Lord Jagannath, so he put that secret. Prabhupada thought, why do you allow this one to come between you and Krishna? He saw that he neglected it, but he appreciated him for his good work. Prabhupada did that to hippies. He appreciated them for their music, for their coming, rather than saying, "Arey, naha ke aayege nahi? Aage. You come at 6 o'clock in the evening for the program. It's such a great thing." Rather than saying, "Naha ke aayege nahi? Kitna der pehle naha tha? Kitna din pehle naha tha?" They will bring their cats and dogs. You will not say that. You are also one of them. No, he says, well, you brought them, keep them outside at least. Tie them up with the pole, don't bring them inside. He will not say why you brought them. He said, "ठीक है, बाहर रखो." So like that, he could see good in them, and he could see that these people are frustrated. Very good quality. These people have given up home, already renounced. These people are already trying through drugs. Very good. They want some experience. And he saw all good in that, and then he said, "अब इसके through नहीं. Stay high forever by the Hare Krishna Mantra." So like that Prabhupada saw. Prabhupada was, of course. And others, they just, say, ISKCON वाले पैसा बाहर भेजते हैं. कॉलगेट ने इतना पैसा आज तक नहीं भेजा जितना पैसा ISKCON ने भेजा है. असाधुतम, no proof, nothing, but they criticize. So इसके ऊपर others see good qualities in others when there are none. In this world, there are no bad people, everyone is good. This is Uttam भागवत, उत्तम महाभागवत डिवोटी. दे आर आल्सो द वेरी ग्रेटेस्ट. दे आर अति महत्तम है, जब उनको किसी में कुछ नहीं दिखता है, किसी में दोष नहीं दिखता, कभी भी दोष नहीं दिखता है. एंड अदर्स सी फॉल्ट ओनली इन अदर्स, इवन देयर आर नो अदर फॉल्ट. इन दिस वर्ल्ड नो वन इज गुड, एवरीवन इज एट फॉल्ट. So this is ati asadhu tamas. So according to the amount of sattva, one is considered good, and then there are 4 kind of good person: mahat, mahattar, mahattama, ati mahattama. According to the amount of tamas, there are 4 kind of bad person: asadhu, asadhutar, ati asadhutar. So like that, Shiva is described as the dear of all being, the cause of the universe, devoid of enemies. Because he is affectionate to all beings, seeing no fault anywhere. He is the most exalted, ati mahattama. But you find fault in such person. Because of seeing only fault in Shiva, the soul of all being, you see only fault in the whole world. Okay, Shiva is considered the as the dear soul of all beings. So शिव जी में अगर fault दिखा तो सब में fault दिखे. That's why you are अति महत तमा. And you have also committed offense against the great devotees. So she is quoting. Because previously he told, Tasma unma nathaya nashta suchaye dhurde datta bata maya sadhvi chodite parameshchina. He says, requested by Brahma, I gave sati to this unclean lord of insane with impure heart. So he offended Lord Brahma also. You have offended other devotees also. He is saying, Daksha performing sacrifice in Vajpayee and then begin the best of sacrifice called Brahaspati Sava, surpassing the followers of Shiva. Thus you are the very worst person. You offended Brahma, you offended all other people of Lord Shiva, you offended Lord Shiva. So this is a purport, very interesting purport. And Prabhupada is quoting that. Dvija is not an ordinary man, but one who has studied the Vedic literature and can discriminate between good and bad. Sati, Daksha's daughter, put before him sound argument. So, like the example is giving, common man can judge, uncommonly good social graduation. So this is all mentioned with that. And then Prabhupada quoted the story of Prakasur. Prakasur, he wanted to keep his hand and destroy everyone. So still Lord Shiva accepted some good in him, at least tapasya kar rahe, ready to, give his head in sacrifice to me. So he benedicted him. But Sati accused her father, you are just the opposite. Although Lord Shiva has so many good qualities, no bad qualities at all. You have accepted him as bad and found fault with him. Because of your accepting good qualities to be bad, instead of you becoming the most exalted soul, you have become the most fallen. Krishna consciousness is the art of seeing good in others. A man becomes the greatest soul by accepting the goodness of others' qualities, but by unnecessarily considering others' good qualities to be bad, you have become the lowest of the fallen souls. So Prabhupada is not using the word, but he's just translating it as Mahattama, Ati Mahattama, and Asadhu Tama. So one more verse and then we'll take a 5-minute break. Nashcharyameta yad asatsu sarvada mahadvininda kunapatmavadishu Sirsham Mahapurush Padapam Subir Nirastate Jesu Tadeva Shobhanam.
It is not wonderful for a person who have accepted the transit material body as the self to engage always in deriding great souls. Such envy on the part of the materialistic person is very good because that is the way they fall down. They are determined, diminished by the dust of the feet of the great personalities.
Yeah. Padapam Subhi. Mahapurush Padapam Subhi. Nirasta Teje Sutadeva Shobhanam. So when they offend the great souls, then what happens? They fall down. And then they serve the dust of the lotus feet, then they go up. Shuddha Bhagat Charana Renu Bhajana Anukuda Bhakta Seva Parama Siddhi Prema Latikara Mool. So that is the Prema Latikara Mool, root of the creeper devotional service. And Bhakta Seva, Shuddha Bhakta Charana Renu Bhajana Anukul. But when one does not take care of one's criticism, offenses toward great soul, then one falls down. So she is saying, this is what person like you deserve. Not surprising that criticism of great devotees always take place in materialists who claim the body is the self. Kunapatma Vadishu. Those persons become lost by the dust from the devotees' feet. Though the devotee tolerate criticism themselves, the dust from their feet does not tolerate it and destroys their powers. The glorious aspect of criticizing devotees is that it bestows the appropriate result. जो भी भक्तों के बारे में जब भी जिस किसी को भी बोला है वो सब ऑन रिकॉर्ड जाता है. कैमरा में रिकॉर्ड नहीं होता, मोबाइल में रिकॉर्ड नहीं होता, लेकिन अपने यहाँ होता है. परमात्मा नोट लेता है, उनका रिकॉर्ड लेता है पूरा, और सब चुकता करना पड़ता है, सब बैलेंस करना पड़ता है, सबका पेमेंट करना पड़ता है. उसके बाद ही हृदय के अंदर भाव भक्ति का उदय होता है. When the offense are not nullified, one cannot attain bhava bhakti. In fact, the power of offense is so much that one's bhava can change. Now, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur often types of bhava. Prabhupada doesn't talk about bhava so much because he knows that अपने पास भाव का कितना अभाव है, हम लोग का लेवल क्या है. बट श्रीला विश्वनाथ ठाकुर टॉक्स and he says because the four Kumaras they offended Jay and Vijay. Last canto must have read, na? Third canto mein hai. You read it? Who taught that section? Four Kumara section. Who taught Four Kumara section? Samarpan Gopro. Beautiful section. भूल गए. No problem. That's a foolproof sign we are in this age of Kali where we are forgetful of things. Not an issue. So there he says that because the four Kumaras offended, Jay and Vijay, then they remained in the Shantaras only. Lord Narayan pacified them, but did not say, आओ अंदर आके चाय कॉफी पियो. गेट पे छोड़ दिया, जाओ अभी शांत रस में रहो. मेरे मेरे सर्वेंट्स को ऑफेंड किया है ना आपका दास्य रस से शांत रस. So they are into that, meditation, Santra. They don't get to serve the Lord. In Brad Bhagavatamritam, the qualities of devotees are gradually, explored, and which rasa is higher in what sense, that is being told. So Shanta rasa is good, it's perfect in itself, but then Das rasa is more intimate, you get to serve the Lord. But that is what happened. They couldn't get to serve the Lord, they only get to see the Lord and glorify the Lord only. So he says, because of the offense towards Jay and Vijay, the offense mein itna power hota hai. Everything depends on the strength of the recipient. For example, due to the scorching sunshine, many vegetables and flowers dry up and many grow luxuriantly. Thus, it is the recipient that causes growth and dwindling. Similarly, Mahi Asam Pad Rajobhishekam. The dust of the lotus feet of great personalities offer all good to the recipient, but the same dust can also do harm. Those who are offenders at the lotus feet of a great personality dry up. Their godly qualities diminish. What is the name? Rup Kaviraj. He was a disciple of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. He was very well trained by him, and he was trained by many other Vaishnavas of the kind. Even Srila Jiva Goswami knew him. He was contemporary at that time. And he was such a great scholar of Bhagavatam, and he will hear Katha, speak Katha, so many people will come to hear. But because he offended whom? He offended Ganga Mata Goswami, as far as I am able to recall. Because she was just chanting and she couldn't stop chanting. Naturally chanting, not endeavoring, but just natural. And he felt offended. Why are you chanting? My class. Why can't you focus on hearing? Krishna took that offense so seriously. Rup Kaviraj lost all good qualities. He created a deviant philosophy. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur has to work hard to remove that deviant philosophy. And even till today, the deviant philosophy is existing. Even today, some devotees go from out of ISKCON and they say, ब्राह्मणा तो जन्म से ही ब्राह्मण बन सकता है, जन्म वाला ही ब्राह्मण बन सकता है. ISKCON devotees, ISKCON initiated devotees talking about this nonsense because they get distracted. Very scholarly people. Shastra तो ऐसे ही बोलते हैं. They don't understand the conclusion of Shastra at all. Still, this is started by Rup Kaviraj. He got distracted, he got deviated. Mahaprabhu Chaitanya Charitamrita says that Mahaprabhu, to diminish the pride of so-called learned people, Brahmanas and scholars, he empowered people like Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Haridas Thakur, Ramananda Rai. He spoke through them such brilliant philosophy just to diminish the pride of the so-called Brahmanas. But people get carried away. So their good godly quality diminished. Rup Kaviraj offended, and then he started a deviant philosophy. And after the deviant philosophy, he himself became a deviant. He became a ghost ultimately. Can you imagine? From the destination of going back to Godhead to become a ghost is quite a transformation, quite a change. Why? Such is the power of offending a great personality. Great soul may forgive offenses, but Krishna does not excuse offenses to the dust of the great soul's feet, just as one can tolerate the scorching sunshine on one's head, but he cannot tolerate the scorching sunshine on one's feet. So where are the devotees situated? भगवान के सिर पे. आई नंद तनुज किंकरम पतितम माम विषमे वाम बुधो कृपया तव पाद पंकज स्थितम धूलिम सदृशम विचिंतया. So the dust is situated, Jod is situated at the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. So sunshine can be experienced at sun, सिर पे लगेगा, नीचे पैर बहुत ज्यादा जलता है. So that's why Krishna can tolerate offense to himself. तोमास्थाने अपराधे तारे हरि नाम. नहीं, हरिस्थाने अपराधे तारे हरि नाम. तोमास्थाने अपराधे ना ही परित्राण. हरि के प्रति हो गया तो हरि नाम लेके हो जाएगा. तोमास्थाने अपराधे ना ही परित्राण. So Krishna can forgive offenses, but Krishna does not excuse offenses to the dust of the great soul's feet. Offender glide down more and more, therefore he naturally continues to commit offense at the feet of the great soul. Offenses are generally committed to persons who are falsely identified with the impermanent body. King Daksha was deeply engrossed in a misconception because identified with the body. Offended the lotus feet of Lord Shiva because he thought that his body, being the father of the body of Sati, was superior to Lord Shiva's. Therefore, less intelligent people misidentifying in this way, acting in the bodily concept, they are subject to commit more and more offenses. Such a person is in the category of cows and animals. Sa eva gokhara. So what we do that we are well, because everywhere it happens in the beginning, it starts slow and later on the speed is picked up. Exam में देखा है ना? पहले घंटे में 20 नंबर का पेपर, दूसरे घंटे में 35 नंबर का पेपर, चौथे घंटे तीसरे घंटे में 45 नंबर का पेपर, 20, 55, 100. देखा है ना? पेन फास्ट चलने लगता है. So this clock is a little fast, I believe, but according to this clock, not according to mobile clock. You'll meet at 12:45 after 7 minutes. I don't know how much long is the break, but I want to chant my Gayatri. Brahman initiation का थोड़ा load है ना. अपना Gayatri ठीक से करते, थोड़ा empowerment आएगा. And then we'll meet at 12:45 and we will try to complete the chapter. ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम. So text number 14. Now what Mother Sati is doing, that she is remembering all the criticism which Daksha did. Previous chapter. He called like its name. His name is Shiva, but there is no auspiciousness in him. He's going to crematorium and applying ashes and rearing snakes and scorpions on his body. So all what criticism Daksha did previously, now Mother Sati is refuting it one by one, because that time, nobody answered, na? All the Brahmanas became angry, and Lord Shiva's Gana, they became angry, and there was a cursing and counter cursing back and forth. It happened, na? All of it happened. And finally, things got settled. The Yajna was complete ultimately. In spite of all so much turbulence, Yajna got completed. Things happened. But now Mother Sati is remembering that and replying to that. So now she is describing about Lord Shiva's ability to destroy sin by his name itself. यद्वक्षरं नाम गिरेरितं नृणां सकृत् प्रसंगात् अगमासु हन्तु तत् पवित्र कीर्तिं तमलंघ्य शासनं भवानहो द्वेष्टि शिवं शिवेतरः. पढ़ो, माइक किसके पास है? Oh, अच्छा, इधर.
Sati continued, My dear father, you are committing the greatest offense by envying Lord Shiva, whose very name, consisting of two syllables, Shi and Va, purifies one and all sinful activities. His order is never neglected. Lord Shiva is always pure, and no one but you envies him.
Yeah. So Mother Sati is so Mother Sati is telling that, my dear father, you are committing this offense because his name is so beautiful, is purifying, his order is never neglected, he is always pure, no one but you envy him. And he says in the purport that among the great devotees, there is no one equal to Shiva. His name of two syllables, Shiva, just being chanted, not in meditation, so soch ke nahi, just bol diya, Shiva. And not many times, only once, and even inattentively, ऐसे चलते Shiv बोल दिया. That destroys all sin. Pavitra Kirtan means describes Shiva's sweet qualities, and Aranga Shashanam describes powers. Sivatara means auspicious. Such is the power of that. So Shiva is very auspicious for persons who identify the body with the soul. If such person they take shelter of Lord Shiva, gradually they will understand they are not the material body but are spirit soul. Shiva means Mangal or auspicious. Within the body, the soul is auspicious. And this realization of Aham Brahmasmi is auspicious as long as one does not realize his identity as the soul. Whatever he does is inauspicious. Shiva means auspicious, and devotees of Lord Shiva gradually come to the platform of the spiritual identification. But that is not all. Auspicious life begins from the point of spiritual identification. But there are still more duties. One has to understand one's relationship with the Supreme Soul. If one is actually devotee of Lord Shiva, he comes to the platform of spiritual realization, but is not intelligent enough. Then he stops at that point, only realizing that he is a spirit soul. If he is intelligent enough, however, he should continue to act in the way of Lord Shiva, for Lord Shiva is always absorbed in the thought of Lord Vasudeva. So they come to that bodily consciousness, out of bodily consciousness to Aham Brahmasmi, that I am not this body, they come to that realization. But beyond that, they have to know that if they're not the body, what they are. I'm not the body, but then who am I? I'm a servant of the Lord. That's why the complete understanding is Jivera Sarupa Krishna Nitya Das, not Aham Brahmasmi. So followers of Lord Shiva come to the realization of difference between body and soul. But if they are further qualified and blessed, then they understand further they are not only soul, but they are servant of the Lord. And it happens to many people. Our Dallas temple president, I believe his name is Narhari Prabhu. Parshamba, what is his name? Parshamba, what is the name of the devotee who was earlier devotee of Lord Shiva? Dallas temple president. Anyway, I believe it's Narhari Prabhu. Yeah. Nityanand. Yeah, he wrote in the chat. Yeah, Nityanand Prabhu. So he was a devotee of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva came in his dream and said, go to ISKCON. So there are many people who have been directed by Sai Baba, by Lord Shiva, and we know the famous story when Lord Shiva directs the devotee to Sanatan Goswami to get some material benediction. Finally becomes a devotee. So Lord Shiva is always in meditation on the lotus feet of Vasudeva. Thus, the auspicious position of Lord Shiva realized if one takes to the worship of Vishnu, because Lord Shiva says in the Shiva Purana that the topmost worship is worship of Lord Vishnu. Aradhana nam sarvesham, Vishnu aradhana param. And Lord Shiva is worshipped because he is the greatest devotee of Lord Vishnu. One should not, however, make the mistake of considering Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu to be on the same level. That is an atheistic idea. We should not commit that aparadh, second aparadh, to consider the names of demigod like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the names of Lord Vishnu. Independent. It is auspicious, it is very purifying, it's powerful, but it is not the same. So there is a difference and there is oneness in that. Next, Mother Sati is describing Lord Shiva's power to give liberation. Yat pada padmam mahatam manolibhi nishevitam brahma rasasvarthibhi lokasya yad varshati chasi sorithin sasmai bhavan duriyati vishwabandhave.
You are envious of Lord Shiva, who is the friend of all living entities within the three worlds. For the common man, he fulfills all desires, and because of their engagement in thinking of his lotus feet, he also blesses higher personalities who are seeking after Brahmandas, transcendental bliss.
Brahmananda.
Brahmananda.
Brahmananda. So she is telling that you are envious of Lord Shiva and he is the friend of all the living entities. He is their well-wisher. What he does for common man, he fulfills all their desire. He Asutosh. Little tapasya become happy and he fulfills their desire. And because of their engagement in thinking of his lotus feet, those higher personalities who are seeking Brahmananda, that means the joy of merging into Brahman, he also blesses them because they are also praying to Lord Shiva. So she is saying like that, how we offer liberation. Brahma rasa means the bliss of Brahman, which is honey. Those who desire the honey of liberation in Brahman worship Shiva. He also awarded material benediction. So there are two classes of people: materialistic people, they want material prosperity, and Lord Shiva is Asutosh, so their desires are fulfilled. Yudhishthira is asking this question to Krishna, that Lord Shiva is staying under a tree on the top of a hill. No house, no palace, not like that material kind of opulence. But he is bestowing all kind of opulences on his followers. And they're very, pleased with him. And here you are living in Dwarka with 16,108 queens, 16,108 palaces and sabha and so many followers and all. And your devotees are beggars. Bhagwan ke naam pe kuch like that. They are beggars. What is the difference? You live in opulence, the devotees are poverty stricken. And you make them poverty stricken. You say them, Harishaya tad dhanam shana tumkulle. And here he is already without anything and he is bestowing. So how to understand that? He's asking this question. The Lord Shiva gives material benediction very quickly. And those who are disgusted or frustrated with materialistic way of life, they want freedom. Then Lord Shiva offers them that facility of attaining liberation. Dharma, Artha, Kam, Moksha, that is all appointed by them. So Lord Shiva does both. Even Vaishnavas who are both above both ordinary and elevated men in the worship also worship Lord Shiva as the greatest Vaishnava. Nimna Ganam Yatha Ganga Devanam Achyuto Yatha Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu Purananam Imam Tatha. So these are the four things. Thus is friend of everyone. Common man wanting material benediction, elevated man seeking liberation, and the devotee of the Lord who are seeking his blessing to become a better devotee. Because we know that unless we take shelter of a Vaishnava, then our service will not be accepted by the Lord. So devotees pray to Lord Shiva to bless them. Mahaprabhu in his South Indian Yatra, he went to so many Shiva temples. He did so much kirtan in all the Lord Shiva temples. Yeah. So now Sati is criticizing Daksha's previous statement, about his name being inauspicious and conduct. That Sati has told earlier. He has told our Daksha Maharaj has told. Now she's criticizing that. Pado.
Do you think that greater, more respectable personalities than you, such as Lord Brahma, do not know this inauspicious person who goes under the name of Lord Shiva? He associates with the demons in the crematorium. His locks of hair are scattered all over his body. He is garlanded with human skulls and smeared with ashes from the crematorium. But in spite of all these inauspicious qualities, great personalities like Brahma honor him by accepting the flowers offered to his lotus feet and placing them with great respect on their heads.
Yeah. So Sati is now condemning that previous statement. Na? Second chapter, Daksha criticizes Lord Shiva. So there, just like we glorify the name, the form, the qualities, the pastimes of the Lord, right? We glorify that. Name we glorify. Madhuram Madhurebhyopi Mangalebhyopi Mangalam. Pavanam Pavanebhyopi Hare Nameva Kevalam. We glorify the holy name. And form we describe of the Lord, na? Krishna's form we glorify. Yasya nanam makara kundala charu karnam rajat kapola subhagam suvilasahasam nityosavam na tatra purndrashabhi pibantyo naryo narascha mudita kupita nimesh. The form, how Krishna is so beautiful. And similarly qualities like compassion. Aho vakiyam stanakala kutam jigam supayu yedapi asadhavi. So, like we describe, and then, qualities and then different pastimes we describe. So, similarly, when Daksha is criticizing, he criticizes Lord Shiva's name. There's no auspiciousness in the name. He criticizes qualities. There's no auspicious quality in him. He criticizes form, that his form is, covered with ashes and all those things, and he has such ugly features. His eyes are like monkey eyes. My daughter's eyes are like mraganayani, like the deer eyes. And then his activities, that he's just there associating with the bhutas and hobgoblins and not doing anything good. So now Mother Sati is replying to those verses and saying that, do you think that greater, more respected personalities than you, such a Lord Brahma, do not know this inauspicious person who goes under the name Lord Shiva? So this is a very powerful reference, no? Because when Mother Parvati is cursing Chitraketu, then also she's asking, oh, you are Dandadhara. You are the one who is appointed to chastise us. You are the one who is appointed to rectify us. Here the four Kumaras are sitting. Brahmaji is sitting and your Guruji is sitting, Narad Muni. They don't know. Now you are more intelligent than them. Huh? You have become greater than your Guru also. He's sitting, no? In that photo you will see. And that description comes. The four Kumaras, they are the eldest. Narad Muni is there, Bhrigu Muni is there, Lord Brahma is there, hearing the lecture. And only you are worried about establishing the Dharma. They are not worried. You only can see the position of Lord Shiva and see fault in it. They are all blinded by that. They have all lost their power to discriminate. Like that, Mother Parvati is chastising Chitraketu Maharaj, and she is doing same personality ultimately. So she's saying same thing here, that all this Lord Brahma and other things, they don't know. You know them better. Huh? He associated with the demons in crematorium. Locks of hair are scattered all over body, garlanded with human skills. But in spite of all these inauspicious qualities which you think inauspicious, great personality like Lord Brahma honor him by accepting the flower offered with lotus feet and placing them with great respect on their heads. So like that. He's clarifying. Daksha criticizes Lord Shiva's name as actually being inauspicious and his conduct. No, if they were inauspicious, then they would not be his servant. They would not hold on their head his garland and water remain flowing from his feet. So Sati is establishing the supremacy of her husband. First, he said, you call Lord Shiva inauspicious because he associates with demons, crematoriums, covering his body with ashes, garlanding himself with the skulls of human beings. You have shown so many defects, but you do not know that his position is always transcendental. Although you appear inauspicious, why do personality like Brahma respect the dust of his lotus feet and place on their head? So it is her duty as a chaste woman to re-establish the elevated position of Lord Shiva. Same thing, we do. Sometimes Prabhupada's statement comes in controversy. Sometimes. So that great souls, they take those statements, they clarify what is the context, what is the understanding, how to understand the divine position of Srila Prabhupada. So then the comparison of Brahma's position and Lord Shiva's position is given. If there is no ordinary living entity available, the position of Brahma is occupied by an expansion of Lord Vishnu, but generally this post is occupied by a greatly pious living entity within this universe. Thus, Lord Shiva's position is constitutionally higher than that of Lord Brahma, although Lord Shiva appeared as the son of Brahma. So all these personalities, they accept flowers and dust of the feet of Lord Shiva, Marichi, Atri, Bhrigu. So then he further talks, in many Puranas, it is sometimes asserted that a demigod is elevated to such a high position that is almost on equal level with the Supreme Personality Godhead. But the conclusion is that Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Personality Godhead, is confirmed in every scripture. It's like milk and yogurt, Kshiram tatha dadi tatha vikara vishesha yogat. It's there. So whenever we find that a demigod occupies a position apparently more elevated than that of the Supreme Lord, it is just to draw the devotee's attention to that particular demigod. Like last time, remember in the Bhagavatam class, Radheshampu was talking about which Purana? Remember the last Bhagavatam class? Last week? भूल गए, बहुत लंबा टाइम हो गया. था क्या कोई क्लास में? नहीं. हाँ, नहीं थे. याद है कुछ? राधेश्याम 1.5 घंटा मेहनत किया. हाँ, तो देवी पुराण का बता रहे थे कि हाउ इन देवी पुराण इट इज प्रूवन दैट देवी इज सो ग्रेट दैट शी मेड ब्रह्मा, विष्णु एंड लॉर्ड शिवा एज kids. And they said, oh, we don't want to go from here. We want to be here only. But then how the Devi, she knows the actual situation and she's telling how she's just assisting the Lord in his service. So sometime when that Purana is there, they will highlight that particular demigod to invoke the faith of their followers in that. जैसे अभी कोई स्पीकर लेक्चर के लिए गया, पंडाल प्रोग्राम दे रहा है, तो उसी का इंट्रोडक्शन दिया जाएगा ना, और कोई थोड़ी बोला जाएगा कि ये है लेकिन आश्रम में इससे भी बहुत बड़े चढ़े लोग हैं. ये तो भक्ति शास्त्री का ड्रॉप आउट है, भक्ति शास्त्री भी नहीं किया अभी तक, चल रहा है, और ये भक्ति शास्त्री टॉपर नहीं है. वहां पे तो यही बोला जाएगा, प्रभु जी इन्होंने इस कॉलेज से ये किया और उस कॉलेज से वो किया, कितना मार्क्स आया, बीच में छोड़ा नहीं छोड़ा पता नहीं, और नौकरी किया, छोड़ दिया कि निकाल दिया वो भी नहीं बोलेंगे। नौकरी से निकाला या छोड़ा, और उसके बाद फिर डेडिकेटेड हिज लाइफ टू द मिशन ऑफ शिला प्रभुपाद। एंड देन he goes here, goes there, he's a youth preacher, corporate preacher, साल में एक बार corporate lecture, एक बार ट्रैवल। इंट्रोडक्शन तो उसी का होगा ना, कोई ऑडियंस उसके सुनने के लिए आई है ना, ऑडियंस को नाम दिखा है कि जन्माष्टमी लेक्चर गिवन बाय हिज ग्रेस सच एंड सच प्रभु। तो वैसे क्या पुराण मतलब ऐसे ही है ना, जिसका नाम लिखा है, जिसका नाम का पुराण है। स्कंद पुराण में क्या आपको थोड़ी विष्णु का ग्लोरीज मिलेगा इतना ज्यादा, स्कंद पुराण में उसका मिलेगा, शिव पुराण में शिव जी का मिलेगा, तो कोई गलत नहीं है। बट ऐसा कोई नहीं बोलेगा कि यही हमारे जीबीसी हैं, यही हमारे रीजनल सेक्रेटरी हैं, यही हमारे टेम्पल प्रेसिडेंट है, ऐसा इतना ज्यादा नहीं बोलेगा। तो वो जब पूछेंगे कि प्रभु जी आप मंदिर में रहते हैं, मंदिर का प्रेसिडेंट कौन है, तो बोलेंगे हाँ मंदिर का प्रेसिडेंट है ना राधेश्याम प्रभु जी। हम लोग 10 साल से भक्ति कर रहे हैं, वो 25 साल से भक्ति कर रहे हैं, वो हमको गाइड करते हैं और हम उनका डिवाइस सुन के हम भी आगे बोलते हैं, तब पूरा प्रोसेस पता चलता है। तो डेमीगॉड वाले लोग क्या करते हैं कि बस वो पंडाल प्रोग्राम के बाद ही वो लोग अपना आइडिया लगा लेते हैं, पंडाल प्रोग्राम छोड़ के कहीं और नहीं जाते, मंदिर नहीं आते। तो वो उस पुराण को पढ़ने के बाद भागवतम पुराण या बाकी पुराण नहीं पढ़ते समझने के लिए कि हुज पोजीशन इज व्हाट। इससे ना भगवत गीता that if one want to worship a particular demigod, Krishna gave attachment to that demigod. Yanti Deva Vritante. Here Lord Shiva is praised by Sati, partially due to her personal respect for Lord Shiva since he is her husband, and partially due to his exalted position which exceeds that of ordinary living entities, even Lord Brahma. So she is saying if Brahmaji accepts, then you should also accept. That's her point. She did not actually come to her father's house to participate in the function, although before coming she pleaded with her husband that she wanted to see her sister and her mother. उनको देखा ही नहीं, उनसे बात ही नहीं किया. That was a plea only, for actually at heart she maintained the idea that she would convince her father Daksha that it was useless to continue being envious of Lord Shiva. So वो समझाने के लिए आई थी, लेकिन दिखाया ऐसा कि as if she is compelled by her desire to meet her mother and sister. कुछ नहीं लिखा है. What is written is mother and sister greeted her, they offered her items of welcome, but she did not even look at them. She did not even give an answer to their queries of how are you and how is our damad and whatever. She did not pay any attention. Direct Daksha को देखा तुमको, and she saw that Daksha is not in the mood to listen. So that's why very important thing that to convince her father Daksha that it was useless to continue being envious of Lord Shiva. That was her main purpose. And she was unable to convince her father, she gave up her body and he had given her, as will be seen in the following verses. So now in the next verse, this is all given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. That describing the good people, you have forbidden saying fault in others, but you criticize me, a Brahmana, worshipped by the whole world as a progenitor, and your father as well. You are asadutar, not seeing any of my good qualities. Daksha is saying, आपने बोला जो लोग दूसरों में दोष देखते हैं वो असाधुतर होते हैं, लेकिन आप तो मुझ में दोष देख रहे हैं, तो आप असाधुतर हो गए, ऐसा दक्षा बोलता है. तो सती says, what to speak of just criticizing you? I have committed great offense to Shiva because I should have killed you who offend Shiva. लेवल पे डिपेंड करता है ना. somebody is a criminal, then he deserves to be beating. उसका इसको if the police is beating the criminal, there's no harm in that. It's good for the criminal, it's good for the police, because he will rectify that. So similarly here Daksha is a criminal. Daksha is criticized Lord Shiva, and that is why he's being criticized. It's not that Mother Sati out of blue is criticizing her father, not like that. But because he criticized Lord Shiva and is not given proper respect to Shiva, that's why Mother Sati, in the mood of correcting Daksha, is criticizing him. She wants to rectify him. That's why she criticized. So she says here.
Sati continued, if one hears an irresponsible person blaspheme the master and controller of religion, one should block his ears and go away if unable to punish him. But if one is able to kill, then one should by force cut out the blasphemous tongue and kill the offender. And after that, one should give up his own life.
Yeah. So there are, Acharya described 3 things. Somewhere the criticism is going on. What should one's response be? Somebody is blaspheming the master and controller of religion, the supreme lord or the spiritual master. So, the Brahmana, he can neither punish and neither kill himself, because killing Brahmana Brahmana cannot commit suicide. So what he should do, he should block his ear and go away. That's for Brahmana. And Kshatriya, because they have the power to punish, what they should do? They should punish him. They should cut the blasphemer's tongue and kill the offender. Why? Because he has offended, now he's become sinful. And his sin will become labeled, his sin will become diminished if he's killed. Just like the court gives punishment, death penalty. So that death penalty given by the king or the court, that actually diminishes the sinful karma of the criminal. So that is why Kshatriya, they can deliver justice. So they should either kill the offender or cut his tongue. And what should Vaishya and Shudras do? They are neither Brahmana, who have to block his ear and run away, and neither the Kshatriya who can punish, so they should commit suicide. That's how ashram wise it is defined by the by Srila Vaishnava Chakravarti Thakur. So then here the same thing, describing good people, you are saying fault, and then she's saying, what is because just criticizing you, I committed great offense to Shiva because I should have killed you, offend Shiva. So here it says, blocking the ear, one should go away, one should kill oneself, one should then give up one's life. Dharma. See, because Kshatriya is qualified for punishing, he should cut the tongue. And not qualified to punish, Vaishya and Shudra should punish themselves by giving up their life, because they heard the blasphemy. And not proper Brahmana to give up the life, he should block his ear and remember Vishnu and go away. Yeah. So then he's saying same thing is presented here, that he's a Prajapati and all. The instruction set forth here in Srimad Bhagavatam is that one should not tolerate at any cost the activities of a person who vilifies or blasphemes an authority. It's not that authority or somebody has to be pure devotee only. Anybody who is in that superior role, if we hear the criticism, we engage in criticism, then we lose our spiritual credits. Spiritual credit, why? Because we are not into pious and impious thing now. We are not into piety and sin now, after being initiated. That quota is over. Now we are into something will become a block in our spiritual advancement. We lose our spiritual capacity to advance. We lose that part. Same thing, Brahmana and all what they should do. Sati decided to give up her body because she thought herself to be among the Shudras and Vaishyas. So then she says, having all powers and all abilities, I can destroy you, myself, and the whole universe. Our people will say that Shiva killed Daksha through his wife. So in fear of destroying Shiva's fame, I will not kill you. I will perform atonement for myself. Sati is telling that I have the power to kill you also. But people will criticize. शिवजी के मन में ना ईर्ष्या थी दक्षा के प्रति, इसलिए क्या किया, उसी ने वाइफ को भेजा और उसके थ्रू बेचारे को मार दिया. होता है ना. In India, just for your information, the laws are very heavily in favor of women. So sometimes when two people are envious, so one party is woman, sometimes very close, sometimes the daughter or wife or somebody, and she will, the family member only will beat her, make provisions and all, and she will go to police stations saying that the other people over there, and they have bet me like this, because they have to show the proof. No? So they do that. And through them, what happens, then immediately they arrest, and they have to prove non-guilty. They have to prove that we have not done that to her, because she's showing that I am hurt, and then the first thing they will do is arrest. There is no concession there. After that, in court, their lawyer has to prove that my client has not done this to this lady. He was at another place, his ticket is there, his mobile is here, is this, that, and all that they have to prove. So they have to prove non-guilty. So people do use women as a tool to harm others. So similarly, Mother Sati is telling that people say, Shivji ne khud to kuch nahi kiya because he wanted to remain good. But then what he did was through his wife, his wife. So that's why she said that I will not destroy you, because that will destroy Shiva's fame, but I will perform atonement for myself because I am born of you and you are so envious of Lord Shiva. So this is very important that, when we take some decision, we have to think how it will affect our spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada's fame. When Bharat Maharaj came back from his Nanihal and he came to know what happened, he was so angry. He chastised and kind of bet that lady, Kubja, not Kubja, Manthara. He was beating her like anything, and Mother Keke came, don't beat him. And he said, you are my mother, and I would have actually killed you right now for this offense of sending Lord Ram to Vanvas. But because Lord Ram will not be happy with that, that's why I'm sparing you. not because you are my mother. That was his, thing. But we have to cultivate that remembrance not only in ordinary situation, but even in very extreme situation. We have to think what will be the impression for our spiritual master, for our society, and for Srila Prabhupada's image when we react in a bad way. And what to say with outsider, even within devotee circles. Sometimes we criticize, sometimes we read, sometimes we just see out of curiosity. ये हरे कृष्णा मूवमेंट वालों ने क्या लिखा है, ये सन्यासी का क्या हुआ. Internet is very, very dangerous. Internet is just filled with so many offensive thoughts and offensive, descriptions about people. And once they go in, there's a nature of wrong thing and offensive thing to stay in mind more than good things. We may attend hundreds of Vyas Pujas and note that and make right offering, and we will not remember any one of them. But one bad thing we hear about a great soul, and that will stick in our mind forever till our last breath. It's very dangerous to do that part. So that's why Sati told, I will perform atonement.
Therefore, I shall no longer bear this unworthy body, which has been received from you, who have blasphemed Lord Shiva. If someone has taken food which is poisonous, the best treatment is to vomit.
The food is taken for nourishment, but when it's poisonous, you vomit it. Similarly, I have taken this body from you, so I just destroy this body. That's the best treatment. So in fear of destroying Lord Shiva's fame, I will not kill you. Since Sati was a representation of the external potency of the Lord, it was in her power to vanquish many universes, including many Dakshas. But in order to save her husband from the charge that he employed his wife Sati to kill Daksha, because he could not do so due to his inferior position, she decided to give up her body. So Daksha previously had said, I have given my daughter to a person who does not perform rituals, is impure, is proud, and violates the rule of conduct. Second chapter. So she's replying to that statement now here. न वेदवादान अनुवर्तते मति स्वएव लोके रमतो महामुने यथा गतिर्देव मनुष्ययो पृथक् स्वएव धर्मे न परम शिपे स्थिता. It is better.
It is better to execute one's own occupational duty than to criticize others. Elevated transcendentalists may sometimes forego the rules and regulations of the Vedas since they do not need to follow them, just as the demigods travel in space, whereas ordinary men travel on the surface of the earth.
So telling that, it's good to not get into others' business, as we were discussing, and perform one's own occupation duty. And sometimes elevated transcendentalists, they may forego the rules and regulations because of their elevated structure. Teji Asam na doshayam. But who is Teji Asam? That should be known. Not everyone is Teji Asam. Everyone cannot put a red light on the car and say, hey, red light. वो रेड लाइट जब सरकार देती है तभी उस रेड लाइट पे सिग्नल खुलता है. देन ओनली द पुलिस मेक्स द वे. ऐसा नहीं है कि हर आदमी रेड लाइट खरीद के लाके लगा देगा. वो खरीद के नहीं लगा सकते. राइट. So Teji Assam are those who are identified by the Shastras. They are said these are Teji Assam. Not that everyone become Teji Assam by putting the name Teji Assam Das. Teji Assam. Not like that, The Parsham once told me a joke, just lighter side. He said there was one person and he was glorified that he is Jagat Guru. Another person went to him that you are Jagat Guru and have never gone once out of this village also. Why you have taken this name Jagat Guru? He said, yeah, that's right. I have only one disciple, his name is Jagat. So, Jagat Guru. So similarly, Teji Assam is not somebody that he can nominate oneself as Teji Assam. Prabhu, मेरे को तेजी असम कैटेगरी में रखो. मंगलारती, गुरु पूजा, हरिनाम, भागवतम क्लास, प्रीति वर्धनम, भक्ति वैभव. तेजी असम ना अपने से नहीं होता है. We can't label ourselves or that's to be there by the Shastras. So there are different people who are different categories and different levels and different rules apply for them. सड़क का रूल अलग है, एयरप्लेन का रूल अलग है. तो that's why they are telling demigods travel differently. Situated in one's own dharma, one should not criticize the dharma of others. So she replied to that statement about Shiva, saying that the mind of the great sage enjoying in the self does not concentrate on the rules and regulation, Veda Vadan, since he is not qualified for all those rules. Krishna also says Arjuna to reject them. What is that? Trivishaya, Trigurnya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. So Vedas are in three modes. So Krishna also tell you, give them up. And he says about that Vedavadan Rata also. So the great sages, they are beyond that. So that's why they do not focus and concentrate on the rules and regulation, because they are capturing the essence. Smratavyo satatam Vishnu, Vismratyam na jatuji. Sarva vidhi nishedashu, esayor eva kinkarad. All the rules or regulations are servant of this one principle. So because they are always remembering the Lord, how? Pranadapi sunichena, tarorapi saishuna, amanina manadena, kirtaniya sadahari. And kirtaniya sadahari is not different from Smratavyam Satatam Vishnu. There are two things, two ways of saying same thing. Right? Somebody may say 100 rupees, somebody may say 250 rupee notes. That's value same. So Smritavyo Satatam Vishnu and Kirtanim Sadahari is one and same. So that's why those who are engaged and involved in always chanting the holy name, they're not bound by any kind of rules and regulation. And then, he's quoting certain verses. That this is from the Ras Leela chapter. Sukadeva Goswami telling Parikshit Maharaj, my dear Lord, when these great persons who are free from false ego act piously in this world, they have no selfish interest. When they act apparently contradictory to the laws of piety, they are not subject to sinful reaction, because they are only acting to please the Lord. And then he quotes another verse from the same thing, that material activities never entangle the devotees who are never fully satisfied with serving the dust of his lotus feet. Devotees ko affect nahi karte, nor to the sages who have freed themselves from the bondage of fruitive activities. So how could there be any question of bondage for the Lord himself? उनका ध्यान करके उनके भक्त लोग और योगी लोग भी बंधन में नहीं फंसते, तो भगवान कैसे बंधन में आएंगे? Right. And Prabhupada says the behavior of the most elevated transcendentalist and that of the most fallen conditioned soul appears to be the same. They can surpass all the rules and regulations, just as the demigod traveling in space surpass all the jungles and rock on the surface of the globe. Although a common man who has no such ability to travel in space has to face those impediments. A common man must observe all the rules and regulations of the Vedas, which a person who is in the transcendental position does not need to observe. So Daksha found fault, but the position of Lord Shiva was totally different. Just like sun, Teji Samna is saying, sun can purify the place of stool and urine, not everyone. One should not try to imitate Lord Shiva, rather one should follow that. So one should never vilify a great personality like Lord Shiva. And then he's saying, well, Shiva should not follow the path of enjoyment. He should follow the path of renunciation. So then, she's saying for such people, it does not matter. You read it? Read the translation.
In the Vedas, there are directions for two kinds of activities. Activities for those who are attached to material enjoyment and activities for those who are materially detached. In consideration of these two kinds of activities, there are two kinds of people who have different symptoms. If one wants to see two kinds of activities in one person, that is contradictory. But both kinds of activities may be neglected by a person who is transcendentally situated.
So this is for Bhogi and Gyani. The Bhogis, they want to enjoy, so they have the path of performing sacrifices, performing ritualistic activities. And Gyanis, they want liberation, so they cultivate knowledge and detachment. So this is the path of enjoyment and path of renunciation, both. So one should not accept the path of enjoyment, neither one should take the path of artificial renunciation. One should rather, walk on the path of spiritual attachment and material detachment. So it says if one is attached, then one is qualified for fire, sacrifice, karma kanda. One is detached, then one is qualified for control of the senses and mind. One person cannot perform both, attachment and detachment. So Prabhupada says Vedic activities are so designed, the conditioned soul who has come to enjoy may become detached gradually. And then there is a Varnashram system. Activities and interests of a grasta are different from those of a sannyasi, one in the renounced sort of life. It is impossible for one person to accept both the order. Sannyasi cannot act like a grasta cannot act like a sannyasi. They are two different people. And Lord Shiva is in different position. Therefore, he is in the transcendental position because he is always absorbed in the thoughts of Lord Vasudeva within himself. Therefore, neither the activities of grasta nor those of the sannyasi in the renounced order can be applicable for him, because he is in the Paramahamsa stage of life. Although he appears to be with the wife, but he is into Paramahamsa stage. Not that Paramahamsa has to be renounced order only. He is renounced, but he still has a wife. Parvati, who is equally qualified, and he's in that Paramahamsa state. So that is all described here further. They are not obliged to that rules and regulations. That for a person who has attained this stage, neither the Vedic activities for realizing material enjoyment nor those of renunciations are applicable. He acts only in one way. How can I please the Lord? That's why in Madhvacharya Sampradaya there was a sannyasi, and Madhvacharya told him that, there's a deity of Lord Ram Priya, and that is there in the treasury of the king of Katak. So the sannyasi went there on the order of Sripad Madhvacharya. He went there, and he was there in the kingdom. He became a tutor for the prince, and then the prince became the king, and he was there. And after several years of teaching him and participating in all these political activities, when the prince asked him, what Guru Dakshina can I give? That time he asked, give me the deity of Rampriya. It took him around 18 years to get the deity. So he was not externally wearing the dress of sannyasi at that time, but his purpose was to please Madhvacharya. So that is why in the path of bhakti, the externals have their role, but they are just important to the degree they are aligned with the internal part. And if there's competition between internal part and external part, then the internal part should be given more value. One time our Bhakti Vinod Prabhu, who is from Chandigarh, so he was there in a senior Brahmacharya ashram in Mayapur. Some of you might have seen. And conch shell blew. So he's in saffron. He got some white cloth here, there. I don't know what happened, whose cloth he got. He wore it and went. Everyone said, क्या हो गया कलर? नहीं वो सैफरन सूखा नहीं था, ये मिल गया, ये आ गया, मंगल आरती के बाद जाके चेंज करके आता हूँ. मंगल आरती आना इम्पोर्टेंट है. So somebody like transcendental like him can do. We should not do that. मालूम पड़ा फिर किसी कलर पता ही नहीं चलेगा. ना वो ceremonial होता है ना, color change. It's a big ceremony. But I'm saying his spirit was कि Radha Madhav is there, आरती is going to happen, darshan is going to open. बाद में बदल लेंगे ना, ये तो शरीर तो वही है ना, कौन सा कपड़ा डाला बाद में. So of course I'm just giving an example that how purpose is more important. क्या है, कैसे है, वो चलेगा. इसीलिए अपना क्या है, कुछ इसको में कोई लिमिटेशन नहीं है कि प्रेसिडेंट सन्यासी बनना चाहिए. नहीं, प्रभु जी, माता जी, डाइवोर्सी, सन्यासी, वानप्रस्था, जो क्वालिफाइड है उसको बना दो. जो क्वालिफाइड है उसको बना दो. यही कृष्ण तत्ववेत्ता सही गुरु है. गुरु के लिए कुछ वो नहीं है कि ये है वो नहीं. Of course, now there's a big controversy going on, so we are not getting into that. But I'm saying the internals are most important. क्या पर्पस क्या है वो करने की? कर तो रहे हैं, वो रिचुअल तो है, वो एक्सटर्नल तो है, लेकिन एक्सटर्नल के पीछे पर्पस क्या है? That is very important. So that's why he's saying for Lord Shiva it doesn't matter that he is living in the family with the wife at Kailash, because he's totally absorbed. One who's totally absorbed from him doesn't matter. Like Jayadeva Goswami. Jayadeva Goswami never wanted to get married. He was not a Nityananda Sabha member, said, Vishnu marriage karna hai. Aisa nahi tha. But Jagannath came in a dream and said, you should get married. And I have to take care of Padmavati also. So tomorrow she'll come to you and you accept. और भगवान ने उसके फादर को जाके बोला उसको देखे आओ. Nothing like it was not a love marriage. Some affair went on. Jayadeva Goswami wrote some romantic songs, sent some WhatsApp message. नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं था. Not married, and they married. And then, she would just take care of him fully well. And you know how great devotee Padmavati was. Padmavati was at par in devotion to Jayadeva Goswami. Jayadeva Goswami bowed down to her. He said that I am writing about the Lord. I am just meditating and writing, but Lord came. Lord personally came and accepted the food cooked by you, and you could personally serve him and feed him. Such a great blessing. You are a greater devotee than me. So for these Mahatmas, these Paramhamsas, it doesn't matter. When they're absorbed, all these orders they apply, on certain classes of people till the time they have not become completely attached to the Lord. Complete attachment to the Lord is like flying in a plane. Then, jungle, river, then you don't have to go by car into the jungle, take a boat to cross the river. वो plane सबके ऊपर से जाता है. So Varnashram is applicable till the time one has not become completely attached to the Lord. And after attachment also one will follow Varnashram. But if he doesn't follow Varnashram, there is no fault. I met one devotee said, Prabhu ji ना वो कर्दम मुनि का कैरेक्टर बहुत इंस्पायर करता है. कर्दम मुनि ना कपिल मुनि उनका बेटा था, फिर भी ना घर छोड़ के चले गए. अच्छा, मैं बोला यार इट्स वेरी गुड, वेरी आइडियल. बट मेरे को समझ में नहीं आता वो नंद महाराज को वानप्रस्थ लेना चाहिए था. पागल है. नंद महाराज को वानप्रस्थ वो वासुदेव ले लेंगे वानप्रस्थ. ही इज स्टिल आस्किंग द सेजेस क्या करना चाहिए, कौन सा रिचुअल करना चाहिए. Nanda Maharaj doesn't even know that Krishna is God or whatever. His only desire is to please Krishna. बोले यज्ञ करो तो यज्ञ करो, यज्ञ रोको तो यज्ञ रोको. So Nanda Maharaj is at a much different position than Vasudeva. No? Vasudeva is Aishwarya, Mishra Bhakti. He knows that Krishna is God and he is asking Narad Muni, क्या करना चाहिए भगवान प्राप्ति के लिए? नारद मुनि बोले, और तुम्हारे घर में भगवान बैठा है, तुमको कौन सा प्राप्ति करना है? हाँ? And इधर उद्धवा is coming and telling Nanda Maharaj, आपका जो बेटा है वो भगवान है. तो भगवान है, क्या मजाक कर रहे हैं? You know, भगवान ऐसा काम करते हैं क्या? और बोलते हैं भगवान है तो और दुख मेरा बढ़ गया. At least till now I was not thinking that he is God. If he is even God, then my misery has, my grief has increased more, क्योंकि अब तो भगवान ही मेरे घर से चले गए. They are not ready to believe. And after Govardhan lifting, you know the past time how all the Brajavasis they came and they said, hey, Krishna must be somewhat कुछ तो powerful personality है. And Nand Maharaj said, क्या powerful personality है? बिजली चमकती है तो यशोदा माई के साड़ी में जाके छुप जाता है, और दिन में जितना बात बोलता है हर बात में झूठ बोलना है उसको, चुरा चुरा के खाता है, कभी पेट भरता ही नहीं. ऐसा ऐसा भगवान होता है, ऐसे देवता लोग ऐसे काम करते हैं. So they don't accept that. So all the rules regulations are there, but once that devotion awakens and one get directly connected to the Lord and one knows how to please the Lord, then even if one thing is followed, not followed, doesn't matter. But till then one should not artificially assume. Huh? Once Prabhupada was traveling in the train and Prabhupada said, oh, samosa lekar. Prabhupada got a samosa from outside and eat it. ऐसा नहीं कि altar बिठाओ भोग लगाओ. But Prabhupada can do that because Prabhupada have no other desire than to please Krishna. वो समोसा खाया, समोसे वाले का उद्धार हो गया. उसका पूरे खानदान का उद्धार हो जाए क्योंकि some pure devotee accepted the service he gave. But we can't say Prabhupada ने किया ना. Prabhupada went to one life member's house and there was onion in the sabji. Prabhupada said, why didn't you tell him earlier? Now you eat it. हम लोग नहीं बोल सकते. Prabhupada ने बोला ये past time में चलता है. चलता नहीं है. Prabhupada है, he is telling you to inform, then he may have some exceptions which he may digest, not we. Right? So that's why this is very, very important thing to understand. Then Daksha is telling, it means my misfortune that I, with the greatest wealth and good conduct, have a daughter who is living in the house of a lowly beggar. Since you are the ocean of good qualities and jewel of purity, you should not tolerate Shiva's bad behavior. तो माता सती अभी इस वर्ष में इस श्लोक में बोलती है how we have such a greater wealth, much more than what you have.
My dear father, the opulence we possess is impossible for either you or your flatterers to imagine. For persons who engage in fruitive activities by performing great sacrifices are concerned with satisfying their bodily necessities by eating foodstuff offered as a sacrifice. We can exhibit our opulence simply by desiring to do so. This can be achieved only by great personalities who are renounced, self-realized souls.
Atmavan manyate jagat. Whatever kind of personality we have, whatever kind of things we value, we think everyone values us. कोई भी तपस्या करता है तो किसको इनसिक्योरिटी हो जाता है? इंद्र को लगता है कि मैं 100 बार यज्ञ करके इंद्र बनाऊं, तो अभी ये लोग यज्ञ कर रहे हैं, तप कर रहे हैं, किस लिए कर रहे हैं? इंद्र बनने के लिए कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि इससे बड़े कंफर्टेबल पोजीशन कोई और हो सकता. तो आत्मवान मन्यते jagat. Person think whatever I am, everyone is like that, and they become insecure in that. So similarly, Daksha has some palaces. Daksha has some palaces. Daksha has servants. Daksha has all kind of cosmetics. Daksha has all kind of powers. So he thought that I have all this. I am the greatest person. Anybody else is there, he is lower than me. They can't understand the other currency. Just like somebody like children, na? You give them 10 1 rupee coins. They say, hey, इतना पैसा है मेरे पास, इतना wealth है. And you give 10 rupee note, they will not understand. You give 100 rupee note, they say, इतना वजन वाला है. You give $1,000 note, he will not understand that it is bigger value. He says, मेरा वजन ज़्यादा है. वजन ज़्यादा है, लेकिन कीमत ज़्यादा नहीं है ना. So similarly, those who are engaged into fruitive activities by performing great sacrifices, pompous sacrifices, they think, हमको देखो, अभी बॉम्बे में 10 दिन का अश्वमेध यज्ञ हुआ था, पता है? एक गायत्री समाज वाले लोग हैं, पूरे ऑल ओवर इंडिया से लोग आए थे, बहुत लोग आए थे. यज्ञ एकदम कंटिन्यूस 24 आवर, स्वाहा स्वाहा. बट दे डोंट नो इट इज ऑल यूजलेस. लाखों रुपया खर्च किया उसके लिए, लाखों में भी करोड़, लेकिन पता नहीं कि वो यूजलेस है. कलयुग में एक ही यज्ञ काम करता है, यज्ञ नाम जब यज्ञ. लेकिन क्या इतना धुआं उड़ाया, इतना अग्नि बढ़ाया, और इतना उसके अंदर घी डाला, इतना स्वाहा बोला, इतना गर्मी में तपे, इतना न्यूज़पेपर कवरेज हुआ, इतना यूट्यूब वीडियो सर्कुलेट हुए, इतना ऑनलाइन किया, लाइव कवरेज किया, तो पीपल फील दैट तो इतना होगा. आप लोग क्या माला घुमा सकते? माला घुमाने से Will feel like that. इतना बड़ा कुछ किया है तो कुछ लगता है ना, यज्ञ किया ऐसा, अश्वमेध यज्ञ, अश्वमेध यज्ञ नाम दिया था उसको, 10 दिन का कंटिन्यूस. So people think by doing such thing they become big, but that is all useless. वो 1-1 रुपए का सिक्का है, वो 100 सिक्के होके इतना वजन हो गया. अपने पास क्या है? गौरंग महाप्रभु के गोल्डन अवतार है, तो गोल्ड का पीस दिया है, वो 1 ग्राम गोल्ड आपका पूरा रूम भर जाएगा सिक्कों से. यू कैन कंपेयर, इट्स गोल्डन थिंग. तो 16 शब्द का मंत्र है, लेकिन वो इट सेड दैट समबडी who gives charity at the time of eclipse. There's a sloka, but I'm not able to recall now. Who gives charity at the time of eclipse, or who gives millions of cows who are healthy and with calf in charity, or who give mountains of grains in charity on the most auspicious time. And he thinks all that I have done is perhaps equal to chanting one time Rama or Krishna. He says such a person is an atheist. You should not associate with him. That is the glory of the holy name. कोई अगर किसी को लगता है कि ना हमने इतना नहीं, कोई अश्वमेध यज्ञ, thousands of अश्वमेध यज्ञas or thousands of millions of cows in charity at the time of auspicious time, or grains in charity, and comparing them to chanting the holy name once, he says this is atheist, this is pasandi. So that is why these people can't understand what is the wealth in the jholi. ये माला क्या है? माला से माला माल है. हम लोग माला माल है, माला है ना, माला वाले मतलब माला वाला. लेकिन ये लोग कंगाल है, ये लोग कंगाल है. इसलिए प्रभुपाद को जब बोलते थे कि प्रभुपाद वी शुड डिस्ट्रीब्यूट फूड टू द पुअर, प्रभुपाद सेड एवरीवन इज पुअर. फ्रॉम अ स्पिरिचुअल पर्सपेक्टिव एवरीवन इज पॉवर्टी स्ट्रिकन, एंड दोज हु आर रिच, they think they are rich, they are more poverty stricken. So the prasadam is for everyone, our process is for everyone, but then they are proud, they will not take it so easily. The simple people will take it more easily. So there's a difference of currency. There's a difference of currency. Somebody is coin and somebody is gold value. So that's why Mother Sati is telling you cannot understand the opulence we have, and your flatterers cannot understand, because you are into fruity business and you want to gratify your senses, and you get something for sense gratification that you feel as the greatest thing. They're like a child. If you give him lollipop, 10 lollipop you give, and he will say, wonderful, you are the best person. And you give him 1,000 rupees, he will not take it because he doesn't understand the value of that. That is why I say this can be achieved only by great percentage or renounce. This is the wealth of self-realization. Oh Father, I have taken shelter of siddhis, power, renunciation, knowledge, and prema, which gives happiness, that you do not possess. You will not attain these in millions of births also. These are my power. And he says, what do you say? I also have power. So Sati is telling, such attainment cannot be attained in the sacrificial area. They are not praised by filling the belly like a crow or by following the path of karma. These powers unavailable by these methods are possessed by Sanaka, Narada, and others. So we want that wealth. What is that wealth? Krishna se tomara, Krishna dite para, tomara shagati ache. Amito kangala, Krishna Krishna boli, dhaye tava pache. That is the wealth we want. Dhana mora nityananda, pati mora gaura chandra, prana mora jugala kishore. That is our wealth, not this wealth of money and rupees and dollars. And this, what will we do with this wealth? Somebody who has a little, a drop of prema is wealthier than all the demigods and all the people of Vaikuntha put together. Such is the power of a drop of prema for Krishna. And that's why Daridrata means to not have Krishna. Krishna prema vina mora daridra jivana. Next line. Das kori vetan mage deho prema dhana. Krishna prema vina vyartha jivana. Das kori vetan mage deho prema dhana. That prema dhana is the wealth that we want. We don't want the wealth of this world. So Sati is saying that her opulence cannot be understood by a materialistic person. They have all opulence, they don't want to display them. And the opulence Lord Shiva possesses is enjoyable in renunciation, love of God, not in material exhibition of sense gratification. In this world, the performers of Vedic rituals are condemned. Dhuma Vartamabhi, who maintain themselves on the remnant of sacrificial food stuff. These are like, priests and all who go to rich man people to worship the deities and all to just earn their living. That Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj explained the story of that Brahmana who was using the Shaligram Shila to break the bottom. So that is the kind of the ritualistic sacrifice. They do rituals just for name, fame, and prestige. Nothing comes out of it. Real sacrifice, however, is to satisfy Lord Vishnu. And that is done by chanting the holy name. Right. Having criticized father, now she criticizes her body. Naitena dehena hare kritagaso deho dvenala amalam kujanmana. Kujanmana, my birth is Kujanmana. Veda mama bhut kujan prasarat jat tajjanma degyo mahatam avadyakrit. She is criticizing her birth. So my body is completely useless because it's coming from the body of a person who has offended Shiva. Now she's criticizing her body. It's a completely useless. My body came from the body of a person who committed offense. So Sati has described her position, how Lord Shiva always remains in meditation. Sati is aggrieved not for a personal association with Lord Shiva, but because her body is related with that of Daksha, who is an offender at Lord Shiva's feet. She feels herself to be condemned because of the body given by her father Daksha. Dakshayaniti aha. पढ़ो. The Lord Shiva is called Dakshayani. There's a lot of Dakshana. It's often the case. Like the daughter of Kunti was is called, Kunti. And Gandhari came from Gandhar, she became Gandhari. So names were related to parents at times. So similarly, Lord Shiva will address her like that, and I immediately become depressed. I shall give up this body born from you. So sometime when there relaxed conversation between husband and wife, Lord Shiva used to call Sati, the daughter of King Daksha, because this very word reminded her about her relationship with King Daksha. She had once become ashamed because Daksha was an incarnation of all offenses. अपराध अवतार, अब तक बहुत कुछ सुना होगा आपने, नाम अवतार, ग्रंथ अवतार, और मनवंतर अवतार, गुण अवतार, लीला अवतार, पुरुष अवतार. अब क्या है? अपराध अवतार, दक्ष महाराज. नाम बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, दक्ष. वैसे तो one of the qualities of a pure devotee is daksha, but we have to become a different daksha, not this daksha filled with all offenses, because the main cause of offenses is the feeling of superiority. I'm better than others, so that's why others are inferior, I'm superior. That's the false ego judgment, the main cause. So one has to take a humble position to not be offensive. So she had once become ashamed. Since her body was constantly a source of unhappiness, she decided to give it up. Maitreya Uvacha, now the Maitreya is describing what is happening. Sure. What? So, Prabhupada says saffron. Bhakti, Vishnu Chaitra Thakur says dressed in yellow garment, but whatever, yellow saffron. Mix है ना? Color अलग अलग. Those who desire to dye should dress in clothes dyed with लेना है saffron? Then क्या लो bro? Those who desire to die, to dress in clothes dyed with saffron. Okay, saffron means you have died in the fire of our service to Guru and Krishna. No more material desires, no more material ambitions, no more material plans. And all our material ambitions, desires, and plans have died. Then the color is really dyed. The cloth is really dyed. And then we wear the clothes, we are dyed. So that is the impetus of that. You know, it is said that a man desires to quit his body, he dresses in saffron garment. Prabhupada ne likha hai. Therefore, it appears that Sati changed her dress, indicating that she was going to quit the body given her by Daksha. Mention nahi kiya, maybe she changed the dress. Generally, saffron is not the dress people wear in functions. Generally, sadhus wear all the time. हम लोग तो कहीं जाएंगे तो नया पहन के जाते हैं, कुछ इनॉग्रेशन है, टेम्पल उद्घाटन वगैरह कुछ होता है तो. But generally, ladies don't wear saffron. And not the best dress. सब ज्वेलरी वगैरह मैच नहीं होता ना इतना, थोड़ा उनको डिस्टिंक्ट चाहिए, थोड़ा बनारसी साड़ी. You're in Banaras looking for sarees. तो मैं पूछा कितने का साड़ी है, बोला 5,000 से लेके 2 लाख तक का. तभी मुझे पता चला कि गृहस्थ लोगों को जीवन में इतना मेहनत क्यों करना पड़ता है. हमारा तो पूरा ड्रेस मिला के 5,000 नहीं होता. कितने का एक सेट कौन देखता है? 800 रुपये का एक सेट. उसमें उतरी भी होगा ना, हर बार तो उतरी नहीं लेते ना. उतरी भी है ना, धोती कुर्ता उतरी है, नहीं धोती कुर्ता क्या. हाँ, 840. और एक साल में कितना ड्रेस मिलता है? 4 मिलता है क्या? अरे मेरा 2 बाकी है, 3 मिलता है. तो कितना हो गया? 840 इंटू 3, 2,320. और वो बनारस का साड़ी कहाँ से शुरू होता है? 5,000 का मिनिमम है. वो भी मतलब वो देख के आपको भी लगेगा ये क्या साड़ी है. थोड़ा हम लोगों ने नहीं लिया, जय विजय के लिए भी नहीं लिया उसको. तो साड़ी पसंद आता है ब्रह्मचारी लोगों को, वो भी कम से कम 12,000 16,000 से चालू होता है. तुम सोचिए माताओं का तो कहाँ रहेगा लेवल. मेहनत मेहनत बहुत लगती है. So, but she would not have been wearing saffron dress, I believe. That's why Prabhupada says she changed the dress to saffron. So anyway, brahmachari life is simpler and cheaper. Simple and cheap. 2,320 एक साल का कपड़े का हो गया. हमारे कुछ ब्रह्मचारी लोग तो एकदम रगड़ रगड़ के कपड़ा पहनते हैं. काला नीला पीला नहीं हो जाता, फट नहीं जाता, जो तो पहनते हैं चिप्पी लगा के पहनते. मैंने लगा के अच्छा सिस्टम है, एकदम पूरा इनोवेटिव है. एकदम लगाओ, गर्म प्रेस से आयरन करो, चिपक जाती. और पानी में भी निकलता नहीं है, सर्फ से भी निकलता नहीं है, एकदम बढ़िया है. So it's cheaper. But she changed her dress, it looks like, Prabhupada is saying. So she decided to give up the body by yogic process. Shiva is known as Yogeshwar, and Sati also knew them. Either she learned yoga from her husband, or she was enlightened because she was the daughter of such great king as Daksha. And the perfection of yoga is one can give a body as one desires. Generally, yogis. So real yoga and all that is being described that you can need. Yeah.
First of all, she sat in the required sitting posture, and then she carried the life air upwards and placed it in the position of equilibrium near the navel. Then she raised her life air, mixed with intelligence, to the heart and then gradually towards the pulmonary passage, from there to between her eyebrows.
So this is the yogic process. Krishna also talks about it in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, attaining the supreme, where it tells how the yogi should, meditate on him and do with this pranavayu. But we don't have to do much about that. Antakale cha mameva smarnamuktva kalevaram yaprayati sambhavam tyajate ante. Okay. So that's all. Our process is to remember Krishna. We don't get into technical details of how this pranavayu works, up and down, saman, apan. We know बात बढ़ गया तो पता चलता है बात बढ़ गया, क्या हो गया पता नहीं, लेकिन बात बढ़ जाता है. So we balance it by taking some Ayurvedic medicines, wearing socks, doing some coconut oil massage or whatever oil your doctor tells you. That's all. But she followed that yogic procedure for giving up her body. So Prabhupada describes Sat Chakra Yoga, from abdomen to navel, navel to heart, heart to throat, throat to between the eyebrows, and between the eyebrows to top of cerebrum. And that is the sum and substance of practicing yoga. No one can attain such perfection yoga now. This is all gymnastic going on. So Prabhupada describes more about the yoga process. Any spiritual process keeps the body fit without separate endeavor, but if one takes to it that the ultimate aim of yoga is to maintain the body, then he is mistaken. The Bhakti Yoga process directly elevates the soul to the spiritual planet where life is eternally blissful and full of knowledge. Therefore, Bhakti Yoga is considered to be the greatest of all yoga systems. Bhakta Seva, Parama Siddhi, Prema Latikar, Mool. So there are many siddhis, Anima, Lagima, Mahima, Vashita, Prapti. But what is Param Siddhi? Bhakta Seva, Parama Siddhi. Service to devotees is the Param Siddhi, not all the siddhi. They will come and go with the body and mind. Okay, next.
Thus, in order to give up her body, which had been so respectfully and affectionately seated on the lap of Lord Shiva, who is worshipped by great sages and saints, Sati, due to anger towards her father, began to on meditate on the fiery air within the body.
तो फायर ईयर के ऊपर मेडिटेट किया उन्होंने. Body was born of Daksha, Lord Shiva used to adore her by sitting her on his lap. It was Chitraketu Maharaj saw it once only, but looks like it was a regular affair. लिखा है इसमें. Chitraketu Maharaj saw ना, but Lord Shiva used to praise her by sitting her on his lap. Thus Sati's body was not ordinary. Still, she decided to give it up because it was the source of unhappiness because of its connection with Daksha. So, what is the principle? Prabhupada said, this severe example set by Sati is to be followed, not to be just known. One should be extremely careful about associating with persons who are not respectful to the higher authorities. जो लोग बोलते हैं जीबीसी क्या कर रहा है, क्या समझता है, लोगों को समझता नहीं है, ये principle is there. Who are not respectful to the higher authorities, whatever level they may be. It is instructed, therefore, in the Vedic literature that one should always be free from the association of atheists and non-devotees and should try to associate with devotees. For by the association of a devotee, one can be elevated to the platform of self-realization. So that devotee also we have to choose. Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttama. 3 kinds of devotees are there. That's why that information is given. It's not that, that if there is a tilak on the forehead and kantimala, then everyone is the same. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, na? Mathera tilak, galera mala. यही तो भाई कलेर चेला. So there are many people because the Vaishnava is one, who has developed the desire to love Krishna, if not reached the level of loving Krishna. And for that, fulfilling or nourishing the desire to love Krishna and to love Krishna devotee, then he is very careful in choosing what will nourish that and what will make it perish. Very, very careful about that. Not that, he's become a devotee, tilak अच्छा है, ये अच्छा है, and बोल रहा है, अभी ये चल रहा है, यहाँ पे ये चल रहा है, ये मंदिर में ये problem चल रहा है, उसने ऐसा बोल दिया, उसने ऐसा क्यों किया. One who judges devotees, one who criticizes devotees, especially higher authorities, such association is a source of, one's degradation in spiritual life. If one wants to be liberated from the clutches of material existence, one has to associate with great souls. Mahas sevam dwaram ahur umaktes tamo dwaram Yoshitam Sangit. If one wants to continue one's material existence in life, one may associate with persons who are materialistic. And then, thus becoming addicted to sex life and associating persons who are addicted to sex life are condemned in the Vedic literature. So then she will change her body and she will be taking birth as Parvati again. Shiva will be her husband. So Sati and Lord Shiva are eternally related. Even after she changes her body, their relationship never broken. Okay.
Sati concentrated all her meditation on the holy lotus feet of her husband, Lord Shiva, who is the supreme spiritual master of all the world. Thus, she became completely cleansed of all taint of sins and quit her body in a blazing fire by meditation on the fiery elements.
She meditated on the sweetness of Lord Shiva's lotus feet, thinking of only lotus feet, nothing else. The body was destroyed. It's very important. The verb is jwal, means to shine. It did this suddenly in moment and not at the next moment like lightning which flashes and then disappears. Because she possesses Maya Shakti, the form of Maya is eternal. One should not say that her body was destroyed because of things made of Maya are temporary. Sati had once thought of the lotus feet of Lord Shiva. She forgot everything in connection with the body. And This pleasure was certainly material because she gave up her body for another body that was also material. But by this example, we can appreciate the devotee's pleasure in concentrating his mind and attention on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. There is such transcendental bliss in simply meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. Then one can forget everything but the Lord's transcendental form. That's why in the Gopi Gitam, the 4 verses out of 19 verses, 4 verses are talking about the glories of lotus feet of the Lord. Chalasi yad vraja charayan pashu nalena sundaram nathate padam shilatrinankure sitatitin. What is the next line? Kalilatam manah kantagaj. And then, pranata dehinam papakarshanam trinacharanugam sriniketanam panifanarpitam. Anyway, when I sing it, remember the way I should. But anyway, 4 verses are glorifying. So that is the meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord. That is so relishable that one can forget everything about the body. What was that contamination? She became freed. The contamination was her concept of the body derived from Daksha, but she forgot that her bodily relationship in trance. Purport is that when one becomes free from all bodily relationship within this material world and simply places himself in the position of an eternal servant of the Supreme Lord, it is to be understood that all the contamination of his material attachment has been burned by the blazing fires of transcendental ecstasy. It is not necessary for one to manifest a blazing fire externally, for it to one forget all his bodily relationships within this material world and become situated in his spiritual identity. It is said that one has become freed from all material contamination by the blazing fire of yogic samadhi or ecstasy. This is the topmost perfection of yoga. If one keeps bodily connection, is not a bona fide yoga. Yat kirtanam, yat smaranam. Simply by chanting and simply by remembering the lotus feet of Lord, simply by offering prayer, one is immediately freed from material contamination. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, Sati quit her body means that she gave up within her heart a relationship with Daksha. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also commented that since Sati is the superintendent deity of the external potency, when she quit her body, she did not get a spiritual body but simply transferred from the body she had received from Daksha. She immediately transferred herself into the womb of Menaka, her future mother. So she gave her the body, not that anything else happened. Transferred to another better body. But she did not get a spiritual body. Okay?
When Sati annihilated her body in anger, there was a tumultuous roar of all over the universe. Why had Sati, the wife of the most respectable demigod, Lord Shiva, quit her body in such a manner?
Pura haakar mach gaya. Aha, great cry arose from those in the sky and on earth. Because of anger of Daksha, Sati gave her body. There were tumultuous roaring over all the universes in the societies of demigods of different planets because Sati was the daughter of Daksha and the wife of Lord Shiva. Why did she become so angry she gave up her body? She had nothing to desire because she was the daughter of a great personality. Still, she gave up her body in dissatisfaction. Certainly, this was astonishing. Prabhupada's purport. One cannot attain complete satisfaction even if one is situated in the greatest material opulence. शिव जी से लोग मांगते हैं इधर शिव जी की पत्नी डिससेटिस्फाइड हो गई कभी कभी ये बड़ा प्रॉब्लम होता है sometimes counselors are counseling everyone and their own children or sometimes their own wife, a lot of fight goes on, right? Sometimes it happens. Brahmachari also give a lot of lectures, but ashram के अंदर उसको बेचारे को बहुत प्रॉब्लम रहता है. Nobody listens. The dormitory. So Prabhupada is saying that this is the conclusion. One cannot attain complete satisfaction even if one is situated in the greatest material opulence. She is the daughter of Daksha, who is the leader of all the demigods. Daksha Maharaj, you were doing Vajpayee Yajna. And she is the wife of Lord Shiva, who is the presiding deity for Tamoguna and who is Sambhu Tattva and who is so powerful. Still, for some reason she was dissatisfied. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam explained that one has to achieve real satisfaction by Yayatma Suprasidhati. All become completely satisfied, even only if one develop devotion service to the absolute truth. Savai Pumso Paro Dharma Yato Bhakti Radho Chakti. So that is the possibility. Otherwise, there is no possibility of satisfaction in the material world or anywhere else. Very interesting purport, sir. Mother Sati leaving her body, but Prabhupada's purports are very deep. How to change body? By giving us the material connection, by forgetting the material identity and remembering the spiritual identity. Similarly, Sati was dissatisfied, although she was in such a powerful position. She could not make a truce. कभी कभी भक्तों के बीच झगड़ा हो जाता है हम लोग बोलते हैं हम सुधारेंगे. Krishna failed in the mediation between Kauravas and Pandavas. And Sati went with that intention to pacify Daksha and make some bond. Never. So when you fail, leave them where they are and do your own bhajan. Don't worry too much. क्या करेंगे? कोई सुनता नहीं ना, हर कोई थोड़ी सुनता है. इतना सुनना होता है, जिसका सुनना होता है उतना ही सुनता है. सब लोगों को गीता का एक श्लोक अच्छा लगता है. यथा इच्छेषु गीता स्पीक्स. Krishna says. Krishna उवाच. श्री भगवान उवाच यथा इच्छेषु तथा कुरु. So everyone is independent. And let them have their independence. We have our independence to try to do something to serve them. If it doesn't work, then I will mala mal. Joli mala hai na. Problem nahi. Not get too disturbed by what happens around us. Otherwise, it will be too difficult to, do our own bhajan. It will keep on happening because people are in different modes and they're in different moods and they do so many things. So Mother Sati could not be completely satisfied what to serve other people.
It was astonishing that Daksha, who was Prajapati, the maintainer of all living entities, was so disrespectful to his own daughter Sati, who was not only chaste but also was a great soul, that she gave up her body because of his neglect.
Itna neglect se she gave up body. He should have affection for everyone since he is the producer of all being, Daksha, progenitor, Prajapati, but he don't have affection for even his daughter. See, he was Prajapati. He was creating Praja, but he could not have affection for his daughter. So thus he was living. Anatmaya means, Atma means life of the soul. Anatma means Daksha appeared to be living. Actually, he was a dead body. Otherwise, how could he neglect Sati, who was his own daughter? It is the duty of Daksha to look after the maintenance and comfort of all living beings because he was situated as Prajapati. How is it that he neglected his own daughter, who was the most exalted and chaste woman, a great soul, and who therefore deserved the most respectful treatment from her father? So it's most astonishing to all the great demigods of the universe. Okay.
Daksha, who is so hard-hearted that he is unworthy to be a Brahmana, will gain extensive ill fame because of his offenses to his daughter, because of not having prevented her death, and because of his great envy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah. Because of his offense, because of not preventing her death, and because of envy to the Supreme Person of Godhead, he will be gaining extensive ill fame. He hates her, Purushadvit. He did not prevent her when she was preparing to die because of his disrespect. So Brahma Druk is like Brahma Bandhu. He is a Brahmana, but he has no Brahmanical qualities because Brahmanas are usually soft-hearted and forbearing. Daksha was not like that. Daksha became so angry and hard-hearted that he tolerated even the death of his dearest daughter. Sati tried her best to mitigate the misunderstanding between the son-in-law and father-in-law by coming to her father's house. Even without an invitation at that time, Daksha should have received her, forgetting all past misunderstanding. But he was so hard-hearted that he was unworthy to be called an Aryan or a Brahmana. Thus his ill fame continued. Daksha means expert. So he was given this name because of his ability to beget many hundreds and thousands of children. Persons who were too sexually inclined and materialistic become so hard-hearted because of a slight loss of prestige that they can tolerate even the death of their children. While
people were talking about themselves about the wonderful voluntary death of Sati, the attendant who had come with her readied themselves to kill Daksha with their weapons.
सब लोग आए थे ना, देखा कि स्वामिनी चली गई, so now they attacked. They were unable to protect their master's wife. They decided to die for her, and before dying, they wanted to kill Daksha. The duty of an attendant to give protection to their master, and in case of failure, it is their duty to die. Angarashak, bodyguard.
They came forward forcibly, but Bhrigu Muni saw the danger and offering oblation into the southern side of the sacrificial fire, immediately uttered mantric hymns from the Yajurveda by which the destroyer of the yogic performance could be killed immediately.
Bhrigu uttered mantras such as Ahapatam Raksha, which kill the destroyer of sacrifice. Here is one example of powerful hymns in the Vedic, which when chanted would perform wonderful act. So in this age, it is not possible. That is why sacrifice recommended in this age is chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. No funds, no Brahmanas, simply chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Yes. Okay.
When Bhrigu Muni offered oblations in the fire, immediately many thousands of demigods named Ribhus became manifested. All of them were powerful, having achieved strength from Soma, the moon.
So many thousands of demigod named Rubus became manifested because that oblation. Brahmana like Bhrigu were so powerful that they could create such powerful demigods simply by chanting the Vedic mantra. By Vedic mantras are still available, but the chanters are not. By chanting Vedic mantras or chanting the Gayatri or Vedic mantra, one can attain the result one desires. In the present age of Kali, it is recommended by Lord Chaitanya that simply by chanting Hare Krishna, one can attain all perfection. Last verse.
When the Ribhu demigods attacked the Ghost and Guhyakas with half-burnt fuel from the Yagya fire, all these attendants of Sati fled in different directions and disappeared. This was possible simply because of Brahma Tejas, Brahmanical power.
उन्होंने अटैक किया, उन्होंने लकड़ी उठा ली, आधा जला हुआ लकड़ी था. Thus ends the commentary of the fourth chapter of the fourth canto of the Bhagavatam. This Krishna Vaishnava Thakur, for the pleasure of devotees in accordance with the previous acharyas. Prabhupada ka purport hai. The Brahma Tejas used in this word significant. In those days, Brahmanas were so powerful that simply by desiring and by chanting a Vedic mantra, they could accomplish very wonderful act. But in this age, degradation, no such Brahmanas. Entire populace is Kalau Sudra Sambhava. So, if anyone displays the sign of understanding Krishna consciousness, he should be accepted. According to Vaishnava Smriti regulation, as a prospective Brahmana, he should be given all facilities to achieve the highest perfection. The most magnanimous gift of Lord Chaitanya is that the highest perfection of life is available in this fallen age if one simply adopts the process of chanting Hare Krishna, which is able to bring about the fulfillment of all activities in self-realization. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the fourth canto, fourth chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Sati quits her body. Thus ends our time for today, Thursday, 21st of March 2024. Bhakti Vaibhav class, Canto 4, Chapter 4. Completed. Hare Krishna. Okay. So we are in time, not too late, not too much early also. So any question or discussion, or we can close here and then go for other things. Tomorrow the class is there? Tomorrow's chapter is more exciting. What is that chapter name? हाँ अच्छा है थोड़ा धूम धड़ाका